Hello. I see the top of your head, Harry. There we go. That's a bit better. When you have such a nice smile, why not show it? All right.
No, I don't have a nice smile.
Yes, you do. Everyone's smiles are nice. How can anyone smile? Of
Progress.
all the expressions in the world, smiling has to be the best. Hi there. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
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 Hello,
Let me
hello.
get rid of the sound down here.
Colette, next time, remember when you connect at that moment with your second device, you can say, do not, like it says, do you want to continue with audio? And you can say no and cross off the audio. Then you don't have to take it off. All right.
Okay. I'm looking for how to do it.
So go down to the audio button on the left, take that little tiny arrow that shows up next to it. And then when you click on that, the choice from the bottom's up. The second one is computer audio. You're muted, so now I can't hear you. Anyway,
Coming through my ear. Okay.
there we go.
We're
That
good.
sounds good. I can hear you through one of them. Hi, everyone. Hello, hello.
Hey.
Couple people that are new to us today. Everyone meet Lacey over there. Say hi. And then Karen, which I see you down there, and I only see a still picture, but I see that you have sound. So hi, hi, Karen. Can you hear me? I'm not
Yes, I
sure.
can.
There
Yeah.
you go. Hi, Karen. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
All right. So I know that Karen had a chance because you already posted on the Padlet. So you had a chance, I assume, to view the recording. How about you, Lacey? Were you able to do any catch up?
Oh, yes. I want to say thank you for letting me join the class
You're welcome.
and for all your help with that. I have two monitors. So I'm
Mhm.
looking at you on my MacBook Pro, and then my other monitor, I have set up Photoshop and Bridge, and then like side by side. And then that's unfortunately as far as I got.
No, that's fine.
I
mean,
didn't get to the
Photoshop and
Padlet.
Bridge is good. So
Okay.
Padlet's fine. That's fine. The fact that you're there, you're set up, you got the Zoom. And let me clarify. In your case, since it's one computer with two monitors, when you go do the work, if you need to share, everyone else can just share the screen they have. But in your case, you need to make sure to choose the screen that has Photoshop because that'll be what I'll be wanting. So in
Fine.
the share process, then when you look at the second step, before you hit the second share, you need to see and go, okay, that one has the Photoshop. And then, and I'll help you when you're doing that. But remind me that you have two monitors.
Okay. Thanks.
I have three monitors going, and every time I share, I have to make a decision, which one am I sharing right now?
Oh, wow. That sounds
Okay.
a lot.
No, it's actually it helps me because I have Zoom on one, I have this on another, I can actually focus and pay attention. Now, sometimes it looks to you guys like I'm not looking at you when I'm talking because I'm looking at the screen and then the Zoom is there, but it's just how it works for me to be able to not have to do everything on one screen. All right. So, how's it going, guys? It's been a long week for me. I started two new classes last week. You guys were one of them, and then six new classes. I'm like teaching nonstop all day long. So, phew, I actually have not had a chance, which I always do check the Padlet. I have not had a chance to check the Padlet with your guys' work up until just now during my break after finishing my morning class. And it is full of work. So, congratulations, you guys. You've been posting, you've been doing the work. I'm really, really proud of you guys and happy that there's so much interaction. Now, don't feel bad if you're not one of the ones that posted. Um, you can always do that today and from now on. Okay. So, I am aware that for some of you guys, since it was the first class, you might have not known how to get to everything. I know that when I sent you all the links last week to the first day of class, I didn't add the Padlet, and I probably should have. I just noticed that because just now I was sending the links to my Illustrator class and my Digital Sun Techniques, and I went, oh, I should add the Padlet. But I didn't do it to you guys. So if you didn't have the link to get to the Padlet, just so you know, get into the class handouts, you do have the link there. But I should have included that in the initial first like Link's email, but oh well. Can't do everything right. So, thank you guys. Before we start with anything else, is there any, I mean, lingering question, something that you need to ask offhand before I start sharing the Padlet and we start working on this? So if it's questions about something you posted, that's fine. But yeah, Colette, you're muted, so can't hear you.
Here I am. Okay, so last week, I have two machines. I'm not sure what I've got going on which one. When we were talking about the little, I'm gonna have the wrong word for it,
Right.
the contextual text bar.
Contextual taskbar, that good old, yeah.
Thank you. When I'm bringing it up,
Let me give you a minute to stop. Since we're not yet doing Photoshop, can you hold that question until I
oh
have
yeah,
Photoshop open and running, and then we'll start talking about that tool, okay? So
okay.
perfect kind of example of just hold for a second and then we'll talk about that. I'm not trying not to answer, guys. I'm very good at answering all the questions, but I want it to be in the context of having sharing Photoshop and being able to answer. So right now, let's just continue with just general questions about the setup, emails, you know, like class, something like that. And then when we get into Photoshop, which will be very soon, we'll start with those questions. So yeah, anyone have anything else they want to know?
I have a question.
Yes,
Exactly.
Michael?
When I'm trying to figure out how it happens, when I go to download the files,
Mm-hmm.
it comes in a zip file,
Oh,
which then Bridge doesn't recognize.
yeah. So you need to, for some people, it stays zipped and you need to unzip it. And you're on a Mac or on a PC?
PC.
Okay. So if you share your screen, I'll show you how to I mean, it's there in the file explorer, but I don't know offhand how to explain it without you sharing. So I'm gonna
Okay.
walk you sharing again.
I don't have either one of them open yet. Which one would you like to go to?
Just-
Bridge or,
no, neither Bridge nor Photoshop.
okay,
First, this is
to my download?
it's your downloads folder on your file explorer. So just share your
Okay.
screen and then we'll find them through the Bridge. So does everyone have the class files? I discovered something yesterday in my
Into
digital design techniques
screen,
class that there might be some files that I might need to change. So we're going to talk about that. But last week we had a few temp class files and then I put in the handout I put more photos in the class folder. So I'm going to walk everyone through getting those new ones. But by the way, I kind of jumped into it and started asking things without actually greeting everyone. And I'm seeing so many of you guys. So hi, let me see who's here. Harry at the top, that now I can see your whole face. Colette. Hi, Ed. Hi, Alan.
Hi.
Nice to see you. You weren't with us last. No, you were. You were in
No.
one of our classes, but you're in this one. Hi, Rebecca. Michael, we're talking. Hi, Lacey and Jacob. Nice to see you. Peggy. I think, okay, Karen and Moni and Julia. I think I got everyone right now. Oh, Sharon, way down there. Hi, Sharon. Okay. All right, so I'm really happy to see you guys who don't know me, don't know this, but the rest of you guys who've come to the class a few times, there's a lot of new students. I have like 5 or 6 of you new guys, and I love it. It's great when I have new students. So I really appreciate that. And I understand that some of the stuff that everyone just knows because they've been in my classes before, if you have any questions, like of the functioning of the class itself, not so much Photoshop, please don't hesitate to ask me. I want to make sure that everyone feels comfy and that we can get this going. So anyway, Michael, share your screen.
Okay. I'm
Perfect.
sharing my screen now, I think.
Good.
And
I mean,
I
hold on.
did a workaround.
Here's what you need to do.
Okay.
Select the
So here's
folder
the
that's zipped. There's the zip.
Okay.
Okay, and then I need to make you a little bit bigger. Here you go. And then at the top, well, first of all, probably a double click takes care of it. Just double click and it should open. But at least that's so on the Mac.
And I just double clicked it and yeah, that
Okay,
looks
now
okay.
at the top, I can't read the details because you're in a different screen. Let me see. But it says extract all. See, select
Extract
the
all,
folder,
okay.
select
Select the
folder,
folder, extract all.
and then extract all. Yeah, there we go. And now
then select the
where do you want to
destination.
set them? And if you want them in the send destination, that's good. Then just say extract at the bottom. I mean, they'll stay in your downloads folder, which is good.
Oh, okay.
And say extract. Now, most computers do
Oh,
that
yeah, it does.
automatically, but in your case, looks like you needed to get it going. Now, when you go back to Bridge, so now open Bridge, and will get you to find this folder in Bridge. And I'm going to leave you sharing while I ask everyone while he's working on getting Bridge open and running. How many of you have downloaded not the temp folder that we downloaded last week, but have you downloaded the whole set of photos? If you have them, say yes. If you haven't downloaded them yet, then give me a no. And remember, Colette, other than a thumbs up that disappears, it's the yeah. Oh, there you go. You did both. I see the yes and I see the thumbs up. Perfect. That works.
Oh, so do
All
a
right.
yes and a thumbs up. Or
Uh,
Yes.
oh, okay.
A yes is all we need, but a thumbs up is always
Okay.
okay. So Michael, I am now seeing your screen, but let me put you up a little bit higher.
Okay.
On the
And
left,
if you noticed, I was able to download him into Bridge, but
Okay.
it was a Mickey Mouse way of doing it.
well, you have them, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, other than that, when you get a zipped folder, you need to extract it. And
Great.
Macs do it
That's
automatically,
probably what I'm missing.
but PCs should do it automatically. But if they don't, then that's what. So good,
Yeah.
you have them, so it's all good then. I'll stop.
Okay,
Share.
stop share.
Perfect. I got it. All right. Let me see. A couple people saying no.
Oh,
So I'm gonna walk you all through, and then I want to remind you guys that when I ask yes or no, I need the yeses or nos from everyone. This is just a reminder, so I'm not gonna call on everyone. I'm just gonna say again, if you have the class files, say yes. If you don't, say no. And where you say yes or no for new students is down in all of the Zoom toolbars. One of them is the React, and it has a little heart icon. And in that heart icon, when you click on it, you will see that kind of in the middle, there's a green yes check mark and a red no check mark. And that is the way to say yes or no, because those two stay put. All right, so Karen, can I help you find it? Just so you know, since you're muted, I can't hear
Yeah,
you.
I was just, it was kind of weird, but
Oh,
I
you're
can raise my hand or put my thumb up or whatever, yeah.
right. So then if you have the class files, give me a yes. And if you don't have the class files, give me a no. And those are the green check mark and the red X. That would be yes or no. And I'm going to be checking in with the class all the time. Like, did you get this? Did you get that? Did this work? And the automatic yes or no, which by the way, Lacey, I saw that you said yes, and now you turned it off again. Please keep them on, because then when I finish, I think you had said yes at one point, maybe it was a mistake, but maybe it wasn't you. And then Sharon, I have your answer on the other screen, and then Julia on the other screen, and Colette on the other screen. Okay, so Harry, do you have the class files? All of the class files. Now, what I mean by class files, let me share my screen now. Well, Lacey, I'll help you in a minute, but let me explain that last week we were doing a temporary folder, and we just had these 4 or 5 files. But now I added more photos to the class handouts. And so let's go over to the class handouts. And as a reminder for how to get there, for anyone who still might not remember how to do this, I'm going to run really quickly through that. I'm going to go to my.sbcc.edu, okay, which takes me to the school dashboard. And you can have all of this bookmarked and pinned so that you don't have to do that. But once you get here, 99% of you guys on the left side will see the word Gmail. Now I'm saying 99% of you because the other day, Harry Yoon, who's up here, he shared with me, and for some reason the Gmail was missing on his screen, which is weird because this is a school screen, but it was missing. But so if it's missing, tell me. But if it's not missing, what might be missing is this red screen. So it might be that you're not seeing the whole red window. So you can click on this little arrow to make it bigger. If it's missing completely because your window is too small, then you click on these 4 little or the hamburger icon to pull it out. So the whole point is you need the red screen. So I'm going to move it up, make it out bigger again. Click on Gmail. And then once your Gmail is up and you've confirmed that it's SBCC Gmail because it has the logo here, then you go to this little waffle icon, click on that, and pick up your drive. So I'm going to click on the drive. Actually, there's a student who's not here yet who was having issues with that, but she didn't show up yet, so hopefully she does. I'm wondering if she got the link because she just signed up yesterday. Might need to go give her the link. Okay, so now on the left side, we're going to go to shared drives. Click on shared drives. And here you have all the drives of any class that you're signed in with. And it might look like a little line like that. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on Photoshop shared drive. And here we are, summer 2025 Photoshop class files. If you're seeing it as a list, then it's at the top. If you're seeing it as icons, then it looks like that. Basically, you change these two over here to make them look like a list or like icons. Whichever way you choose, the top choice tends to be the folder, although someone had them organized differently, things happen. And I need you to right click on that. And a right click on people who only have a touchpad is 2 fingers down instead of 1 when you click, and then to download that folder. Okay, hit the download. Now, I'm aware that I've done this kind of quick and that you might not have followed all the details. So I'm going to answer questions and I'm going to help you individually because at this point it's easier if you share your screen than if I do it one-on-one. So yes, Alan, what's up?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes, you hear me?
I can hear you. Yep.
What is your question? Oh, Michael.
Here, you had your hand up.
Well, I had a question before. But first of all, I didn't know how to get to the
Class files?
Yeah.
I believe you had them before. If you need help getting the class files, go ahead and share your screen. I'm seeing Moni, Julia, and Sharon who say they don't have the class files. I'm assuming that's what's the no. Lacey, have you found the reaction buttons yet?
Oh,
So if it's a yes, you have them, perfect.
got it? Okay,
Got it.
thanks.
So Alan, do you want to share your screen so I can help you?
Yeah, yes, I'll be happy to share my screen.
And remember that in your case, since you have monitors, usually you have to point to the right one so that we can see what you're seeing. Okay, Moni, I see that you've downloaded, so you switched. Okay, so first find the green share button at the bottom of the Zoom. And then once you click that one, then go to the blue button that has white letters at the bottom of the next window. So do you see the green one?
Which screen are you seeing on my screen?
Right now, I'm not seeing any, so you haven't done the second share. So after the first share button,
Okay, I have to.
then you have another share button at the bottom that's blue with white letters, and that's the one that makes it actually share. I know that it's confusing with your monitors there, but did you click the first green one yet?
Okay. Okay. So I'm on the screen with your face. No. Oh, share. Okay.
And then the second button at the bottom. Perfect. Okay. So now, I think you need to bring your bridge over, which, oh no, you don't have bridge open yet. I see that you have your Photoshop open, but not your bridge. So go ahead and open your bridge. Meanwhile, let's go to your, do you use Safari to open your browser or I see Firefox open, go to Firefox, just open a browser.
I usually use Firefox.
Okay, go for that. Open Firefox. All right. And I believe you have SBCC opened here. Here it is. You already had it open here. Go, no, don't go there. Go up to this thing that I'm clicking on right there. Yeah, SBCC. Right there, like inside of the circle that I drew. Yeah, click on that. And now click on this little icon here. Wait, don't move that out of the way. You're fine. just click on this, look over here. Now you might have Zoom in the way of this, but do you see this circle right here?
I have to get rid of screens that aren't what you want. Okay.
Yeah, because you have the Zoom in the way, that's fine. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so now watch what I'm gonna do. Since you're in the main SBCC screen instead of the dashboard, let me show you how to get to the dashboard. There you go, you're reorganizing things. Okay, here it is. You see my little pink circle right there?
Oh, yes.
How you get to the My SBCC dashboard once you're on the main SBCC page. There we go. All right, so now let's head over. See, you're another one of the ones that for some reason the Gmail doesn't appear over there. It's so bizarre. I don't know why in some people it doesn't appear over there. Okay, let's go over, let's go scroll up a little bit higher and let's see if I can find your, nope, then scroll lower. Keep going down, 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 down. Everyday tool, student resources. Go to student resources menu. This is plan B, you guys, when the Gmail doesn't appear there, and go to essential resources. There's a couple people who don't have that Gmail there and I have no idea why. And here's your Google Drive. So we're going to go straight through to Google Drive. There you go. Click on the word. Yeah, the link doesn't work. It's just the word. There we go. So you're here. Now go to your shared drives. And anyone who's hasn't downloaded them yet and you're watching, okay? So now open your Photoshop shared drives right there. Okay, and now just right click on this folder and say download. Perfect. So now that's going to take a little bit of time, and then after that, we'll pick it up on Bridge. So I'm going to hang in there until it finishes there, while I look at everyone else. How's it going, guys? Who else needs help with downloading? Yeah, Lacey? I think you raised your hand, Lacey.
Yeah, sorry, I had the mute on. I have a Mac, and so my question is, I downloaded it, like I am exactly where you are. My question is, when it downloads, is it downloading onto the
Your
Google
download,
Drive of the
your downloads folder. If you're on
class
your
website, or is it downloading to my Mac?
your Mac's downloads folder.
Okay.
Downloads
Thanks.
folder. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and show now. Alan also has a Mac. So now that he's downloaded them, I'm gonna now show him, and then you can see how to go find them in Bridge. So now open Bridge, and Alan,
Yeah.
go ahead and do that too. Now I'm not too sure what you're trying to open here. Enter name of the file to go ahead
looking.
and save. I'm not sure why you're getting this, but okay, go ahead and go in here and say save. Wasn't watching what you were doing. Okay, so now let's open Bridge. So now anyone who already downloads the folders, we need to open Bridge, and here it is. Down there. Yep, open Bridge. Okay. So this is for everyone who has a Mac. I think you have Bridge on another monitor. You need to drag it over. Yeah, there we go. Okay, move it up a little bit more so we see all of it. Okay, your Bridge is set up in a different mode. It's film strip mode. I know that you do videos, and so it's in film strip mode. But for this class, let's click on Essentials, yeah. And go to this arrow over here. You have an older version of Bridge, so the arrow's over there. Click on that. And then say, what does it say there? Trying to get you to get the original layout. I
Edit.
need to bring you over to another screen because over there I don't have the details. No, it says edit workspace. Okay, so then I just couldn't see what it said before. So don't edit it. That's fine. Just leave it. We've got it over here. I moved you to another screen. I need to find my annotation tools. I left them on the other screen. Here we go. Okay, so let's do this. Let's head over here to the left side and click on the word downloads, which Lacey, you won't have the word download. So I'll give you in a second how to get there. And then since you're looking at this and it's so big, let's go over here to where it says Bridge Search. Over there, move up to the search right there.
Oh,
Yeah, click on that and just write 2025.
just the words.
2025.
But it
Yeah,
was the
And hit a return.
was 2025 Bridge that
So
I
now you will only have files or folders that say 2025, so it'll be easier to scroll up and down through this and find the one that says summer 2025.
Oh, I see.
the name of this folder. So scroll up a little bit, up and down, until you find one that says summer 2025. There it is. Oh, you have it zipped still. Okay. Well, that's, I don't think you can unzip from here. Try, double click from here. It probably won't let you bring it in. Yeah, I brought you here.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So it's unzipped.
need to get to that one. It is open. You have unzipped it. So let's see how come in Bridge it didn't bring it up. Since you already unzipped it, let's go back here, click again on Bridge, which is in the background. This black thing is Bridge. Yeah, move it there. So now we need to find your zipped version. Why did it not come up? Scroll up and down again to see if it's there. Summer. So then write the word summer instead of 2025. I don't know, or write summer 2025. I don't know why it's only finding that one. And now hit the enter return key. Why is it finding only that one?
Summer 2025.
Yeah, but it's still the zipped version. That is weird. Go back to your Finder. Sorry, it shouldn't be. That's, you unzipped it twice already.
Okay.
That's really weird. Okay, let me do this. I'm going to request remote control. Can you say yes to that for a second? I don't
Yes.
normally, for you guys, let me just tell you that I don't normally take over anyone's computer unless it's not related to the class. In its case, I need to figure out what's happening. He might have this download somewhere else. You get your reset to save layout. Let me go back to the downloads. Is this the same downloads folder? Yeah, let me go to just folders. By type. No, that's date control by type. And summer 2025. Summer, there it is. Summer 2025 Photoshop files. So watch what I'm going to do, you guys. For anyone who, once you find them, I don't want you to open it here. If you open it and double click, you'll see the files, but that's not the goal. I want you to first put a little link out here, which is a quick access to it. Now, when you click on that, you don't have to go through all of that finding it anymore. It's right there. And you haven't moved anything. You've just made a quick little shortcut here, okay? Now, Lacey, if you're opening this for the first time, you won't have the downloads, so I'll need to give you another pointer. But anyway, there you go. You've got them. I'm going to
I
stop your
downloaded it this morning though. And so I've got it downloaded on Bridge and I have 37 items. Is that how many I should have?
Fine. Yeah, go ahead and share your screen and I'll show you how to find them on Bridge.
Thank you for your help.
You're welcome. And I
Okay.
see, Julia, that you're always also saying that you don't have them, so keep an eye on this and see if this can help you figure it out. And if not, I'll give you a hand. So
Allow
have you ever
version.
shared your screen, Lacey? I forgot that you're new to us today. Walk you through it.
No, but
Because if you never shared your screen and you're on a Mac, the Mac has a series of permissions that you need to do. So I'm going to walk you through them, okay?
okay.
Right, so you need to read to me what you see so I can see where you are. So hit the green share screen button first.
Got it. Okay.
And the bottom of what you see next, there's another share button that's blue.
Yes.
Now you should be something about open system settings. Go ahead and say yes or open or preferences. After you.
It says desktop 1, desktop 2, universal access, Google Chrome or Safari unknown.
Bottom.
Oh, click
the
share.
button.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Open system settings. Got it.
So say
Okay.
okay, open.
Okay.
It's taking you to the privacy. You should
Yes.
see on the right side of that window, you should see the word Zoom somewhere.
Yes.
Okay, click on the slider next to it to turn it on.
Okay.
It's going to ask you for your password.
Yes.
Good. That's all you need to do. Go back now to Zoom and try again. It's two shares, the green share button and the blue share button, and this time it'll work.
Oh gosh.
Go back
It's
to
asking, it says Zoom may not be able to record the
you need to
content
say now or later. I forgot about that one.
later. Okay, cool. Then go back to Zoom and click on the green button again. Your
Yep.
Zoom? Our Zoom. Okay.
Zoom button and then the blue one at the bottom that says
Okay, share. Oh, but I want to click desktop 2. Okay, there we go.
perfect.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Now,
This computer's
notice that the downloads doesn't automatically appear here, and that's why it was harder to send you to the downloads. Oh, but you seem to have it right there. So there you go. So let's do
Yeah.
this.
And I've got 37 items, so is that, did I download the current?
Yeah, to say the truth, you didn't need to download the rest of it. The only thing that matters for downloading is the class. The rest is handouts, which is fine. You have them now. Grab this folder and drag it right here. Perfect. Now, the Photoshop shared drive, which is everything else, you have like, you've downloaded like videos and things. You might not want to clog your screen up with all of that.
Yeah.
Later you can delete them and keep only the handouts that you want. But these are the class files. So now click on the word summer and you'll see that you'll come into photos. And these are the class files that would be, it takes a little second for them to pop in, but as long as you downloaded them, there they are. Okay, so this is where you need to go. Now, since you downloaded the entire drive, I recommend, since there's big stuff in there, to later check them out and see which ones you might think are useful to have. Otherwise, I just have people leave those online and only download the ones that they need. But
Yeah,
is there
I would like to just delete it and remove it. So,
well, there's some that you're going to want, so that's okay. But
Oh,
go ahead
okay.
and click on it. Go ahead and click on it, and I'll show you. If there's something you don't want, like this video for a hand, I'm just showing you one. Go ahead into the video, right click, and say delete.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So you might want to do that one by one, or you might want to just delete everything and only download the ones you want, but that's one way to do it. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, and then let me see, Julia, how can I help you?
Yeah, so Diana, I am on a visual desktop.
That's
So
true, yeah.
I found the Summit 2025. I don't need to download it, right? Because
You don't need to
it's
download it. No, as long as you have Google Drive, you're fine, and you're seeing them through VDI. So perfect. So that means that, awesome. If everyone
well,
has it,
I have one question, but I was trying to click on a file inside, and it's supposed to open in Photoshop, and it doesn't open in my Photoshop for some reason.
oh, it's slightly possible that if you didn't refresh your Google Drive, that it's showing up corrupted. Go ahead and share your screen and let me look at it for a second.
Okay.
So remember that you need to always sign out of your Google Drive and sign into your Google Drive each time. Do you remember signing into your Google Drive?
I did. Yeah, I signed out and I signed in. Mhm.
Okay, so then this is the summer, this is here we go. This is the folder.
This is
Go
a
ahead,
file.
drag it out here for a second. Just grab it and put it down there. You need to grab it. Yeah, why is it not?
Not brown. Mm.
All right, so that's weird. Are you you're in the shared drives, Photoshop shared drive. Okay, double click that again. And now see if you can grab it and drag it. Oh, that's strange. Double click on it to see if the context should be in there.
Yeah.
Files are there. Okay. So now back out again by going over here. And I guess, I mean, worst case scenario, but yeah, you should be able, the reason I make people do that is so that they don't have to go and find it each time, but I guess that's okay. You can open it now and just leave it there. But here's why. You need to do one more step. You need to do one more step because you can't save into this folder. This folder is locked. I'm the only one who can save into it, right? So you need to do one more thing. So go ahead and go back to Photoshop Shared Drive. Okay, select this and copy it. Let's hope that's something that's alive and you can do that. Select and copy. And then just copy summer 2025. No, don't copy two. Just, that's fine. Okay, that's all you can do now. Okay, now let's go over here to my drive. Click on my
It's
drive.
say cannot copy. You see?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So say okay to that. I said don't copy. Yeah. Okay. Now go to my drive. Okay. And now this is your drive that has the class files. Now go in here, click on this area anywhere, and now say right click, paste. Yeah, paste. No, you said, okay. All right.
So
And then
I have to move files in my drive before I can work with them.
you just did this. You're doing that right now. So from
Okay.
now on, this is the folder that you worked from. So now grab this one and drag it there. Because now you can open, modify, save. Why is it not? Maybe you don't have enough space here. Is that what's happening? Do this. Put your mouse between these two lines and pull this line down just to make more space because I don't see why. Yeah, there we go. Let's see if maybe that was it. Now drag it, click and drag. It's like you need to be able to grab it. I'm not seeing it coming.
Yeah, I'm holding the mouse.
So weird.
Mm,
Well, that's what you need to get to. Can you right click maybe and make a favorite? Let's see, right click and say make, is there something like add to favorites? There you go. Add to favorites. There you go. There it is. So now you can click on that and that one now is in your drive and now you can modify these, change them, save them, work on them to your heart's content. So you're ready to go.
Okay,
guys.
so Diane, one more
Design.
question. A user. So if I click,
Mhm.
I don't know what I need to a username, request remote control.
If you need to open something, now the one that you're opening,
Like
click,
this picture, double click and supposed to open in Photoshop.
it will.
Oh,
See
it
how
will.
it's opening? Yeah, it
Again?
should. Well, it should. I said it
Yeah.
will, it should, but you're right. It doesn't seem to be opening.
Mm-mm. And I was trying to do that before, and it was giving me a hard
Go
time.
go back to bridge. Go back to bridge for a second.
Yeah, I'm trying to smaller so I can
Yeah,
jump.
so remember, go to the dock
Mm.
and change from here to bridge to Photoshop, right? So go back to bridge.
Right. My controls are blocking view, so I can't reach
It's
it.
like if every time you move it, the whole thing
Uh,
has to redraw
yeah.
and it's completely, okay, so go back to bridge, okay. And yeah, okay, so let's give this another try. Grab this one and do right click. I don't know why the double click isn't working for you. Right click and then open with.
Adobe
Give it a second,
Photoshop.
and then Photoshop. And it should be opening. Same thing as it's doing before, but for some reason last time you couldn't get it to open.
It's not opening.
Oh, something's not working well. And since they are upgrading VDI, maybe they have something not set up. Okay, worst case scenario. And now at this point, yeah, worst case scenario is happening because you're not opening it. Let's go to open and you can open it yourself straight from Photoshop, which in this
I
class,
tried that.
go to your Google Drive, but this time go to My Drive.
Yeah.
Then Summer Photoshop. And then open anything here and then say open and let's see if this time it opens.
Colors.
That one, the colors don't do, yeah.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you worked on Photoshop last week just fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let me try to log out and log in
Log
again.
out first,
Maybe-
close Photoshop correctly first before you log out. Close Photoshop from here. Then-
Exit.
Or exit
Oh.
from, yeah. And then exit bridge, let's exit both, let's do it right. And then don't forget to go to this little arrow and close your Google. No, see, that's what I was going to stop you from doing that. Wait. Go over here first. Yeah, that little arrow.
Yeah, let me. Hold on a second. I need to remove the zoom.
Yeah.
So my head is
Not go to your Google icon
go. Okay.
and go over here to the settings and quit.
But good.
Okay. And now go over here and shut down. And then that little eye there, shut down. One up, one above it, right above.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, and shut down. And then when say close. And now go to this little window up there. And say log out. Okay. Now say okay to that. And then I'm going to let you do the whole sign in again while I continue with the class. But
Okay.
all right. Guys, she's working on VDI, which this last week I've had you know, some people are working on it, and it's never been so tricky as this time. I don't know why they're having some issues with VDI. I called tech support. They're, you know, like in summer mode. They're like, okay, we'll look into it. So yeah, I'm not sure what's happening. I think they're upgrading it or something, and they didn't really give me a good answer. Anyway, all right, thanks everyone. Let's get going. I'm going to share my Padlet dashboard. Let me copy the link to the Zoom so everyone can do it with me. Oh, I forgot to say, did everyone sign in, especially new people? Go to the chat and give a little hi there. Hello, I'm here, something like that. And if you have specific questions, that's a good place to do it. When they are unrelated to things that I'm talking about. Like sometimes you have a question and it's completely like you think about it and you're going to forget the question, write it in the chat. And then when we get around to it, I'll answer it. Okay. Now let me give you in that same chat, I'm going to give you the link. Perfect. To the Padlet. So go click on that link. And then we're going to everyone's going to be on the Padlet once you get to that link. And let me remind you, for those of you who asked me during the week where the Padlet link was, I'm just moving some things to see my Zoom on the side. Hold on. There you go. So if you don't remember during the week to get to the Padlet link, in the class files, right, in the Photoshop shared drive, there's two places. I have it here and how to use Padlet, but I also in that main handout, the one that has all of the class links and recordings, here's the class Padlet link. Okay, so during the week, you come over here. More importantly, why don't you just bookmark this page, right? And then you don't have to get the link. But if you need it and you don't have it, it's in the Zoom class recordings. And this is the first recording and the first summary. Here's the class survey. Here's the class Padlet. And then these are how to get here. So these I emailed you, right? How to get into VDI and stuff like that, how to get into the class files. But I've emailed you that one because you can't see this here if you haven't gotten here. So anyway. All right. Is everyone in the Padlet?
No, let's see here.
I'm gonna, if you go to the chat, I'm gonna put it in the chat one more time. All right. So especially if you have two computers, if you might be seeing the chat link in the Padlet, the chat might be appearing on your second device, in which case click on it over there because it's just watching. It'll pop open and it'll force open a browser, whichever browser you use, and then you will be on this page. Okay. Cool. There we go. All right. So thank you guys for all the work. Look at that. Lots of work posted. Awesome. This is the beginning work, the one that we did in class where everyone just grabbed whatever they could have in front of them and posted it. And then some people had questions and some people got answers and some people did more posts, right? And so notice that, and actually after class, I did some answers. So say Ed said something and then I said something. So this would be if we're having any conversation about it, which sometimes will be more interesting. It's about things that we're doing. Then some of the people who posted had a particular thing, like my bridge doesn't have that. I had shown some quick actions the other day. But the option is not there. I think maybe it's still a beta option. I don't know what to say about that. Remember, it wasn't really working on mine too well either, so maybe it's beta. I'd have to go look at it. So for now, let's ignore it because we're not going to be using it. But thanks for letting me know, Peggy, that even if you update, it still doesn't work. Then Ed made this post where he's been working on this image repeatedly over the years, trying to fix it. And there's a new tool in Photoshop that he was wanting to explore, a tool called Variance in Camera Raw. This is way too advanced for most of you. What's that?
Nothing.
Oh, so that's Ed, by the way. And this is a photo of himself and a friend, and he's been trying, for many years, different tools to fix it. And so he told me he would use this one called Variance. And so then here he posted the corrected image, which for some of you guys who are still not much into this color correction, you'll go, well, they look the same. Well, actually, no. And I know it's tiny, but can you see that there's a bit of a color difference in his head, his face here had a lot of red, and he's made that better. Same with his friend here, he's made that better. And then he's changed a bit the color of the rocks, so that's kind of yellowish, and this is kind of pinkish. Can you tell the difference?
Yes.
Right hard viewing it through me on my computer, zoomed to you, right? So maybe you can see this better on your own. And to see it even better, you can click on one, see it big, see what he's saying. But then to get out of this mode, you have to kind of exit out of there and then open the next one. And here he says everything he did. I'm not even going to begin to explain everything he did, in fact, because you probably don't even know yet what is camera raw, masking, the eyedroppers. Like, he's making a lot of technical comments here that are useful for me and him, but it's okay, guys. You'll get here, all right? He's been not only taking this class a long time, but he's one of those people who spends a lot of his time on tutorials, learning new things, continuing to educate himself beyond what he learns in class. And he takes some amazing photos, and he uses a lot of applications. And so anyway, yeah, thanks for this example, Moni. Exactly. So we're going to talk more. Maybe we can come back to this one later when you understand more about these individual things he's talking about, and the fact that variance is a very new tool that I haven't even played with. So I can't even comment to how well it worked because I have not played with that tool. It just came out, what, a few weeks ago, Ed, or less?
About 4 days ago.
3 or 4 days ago, and I have not had a chance yet to play with it. So other than saying, awesome, good job, that's a kind of a vapid comment because I can't make any comments about how he used it or not, because that's what I tried to do in this case. So hang in there, Ed. I'm going to
Okay.
work with that, and then we can talk about it.
And remember, I need to leave in about 13 minutes, just so you know.
That's okay. But
All right.
whenever we talk about it, it won't be today because I haven't used that tool yet. All right. Other than that, here's the one thing we had done was adjusting colors. And so I said, well, go ahead, post something and adjust colors. And so people have been posting their adjusted colors. So here's Peggy's original tiles. And no, these are the original tiles, and these are the changed ones. Now, notice that it's 2 posts. Unfortunately, I would love it if you could put 2 photos in the same post, but you can't. So you have to post the original and then the other one for me to see the change, okay? Now, one thing I want to show you that Peggy's already in my classes, so she already knows, is that she didn't just post the change, she also did a screenshot of the layers. And you'll see later when we talk about layers why this is so important to me, because then I can help with whatever's happening because I can see what she's been working with, versus if you just post a photo that's pink and yellow, I'm like, okay, it worked, but I can't tell if there's something technically that needs to be fixed or changed. Does that make sense? So for the rest of you who posted, from now on, when you post, try to always capture the technical stuff that's going on the side, and I'll show you'll see it in a minute when we do it, so that I can see the full concept of what's happening. Anyway, so here's more of Peggy's work, and it's interesting because this is the original, guys, right? And she wanted to change the color of the boat, which is blue. But as you are aware, there's a lot more blue around this boat. Can you tell? So then she used the color adjust tool. Sorry, it's called adjust colors tool that's in the contextual bar. And in trying to change the boat, the water changed as well. So yes, there's definitely ways to modify that tool in order to be more specific to the color of blue of her boat, which if you actually notice, there is a difference between this blue and that blue, but it is not that different. So we're going to have to work hard on adjusting some of that tool in order to have it focus just on this blue and not that blue. And if that tool doesn't adjust enough, then in comes the good old magical masking. And the masking is what we do when we want only one part of the tool to of the image to change and not the others. So if adjusting the tool, and I'm going to show you how, isn't subtle enough, then we have to mask out, literally tell it, change the boat, but do not change the water. So this is a perfect example of when masking is an amazing tool, okay? So in fact, it's such an amazing one that I wouldn't mind asking you if at some point we can borrow this one for class, because it's the perfect example of when you're trying to modify one thing and not the other, and that's where masking comes into play. And it's the next person who posted here is Julia, and notice that her stuff is kind of out of the way here. There's Julia Pond here, Julia Pond there, Julia Flowers here, Julia Flowers there. So let me show you, if you ever want to just see one person's posts, one thing you can do is you can go to the very top to this little search feature here, and you can write Julia, right? And then only Julia's post will appear. Does that make sense? So say that Moni, some people are really good at writing a lot of information on their videos, like tools they've used, techniques they've used. So you might want to just say, well, I just want to see Moni's post, right? And then you can do that. And then you can see them a bit more next to each other. You don't have to, but I'm just telling you that that's a solution. Anyway, so great. So Julia, you adjusted the colors of the center part of your flowers, but again, notice, and I'm just gonna, that not just the flowers changed, but see how some of your grass also kind of went reddish, because you wanted to just change the yellow, but guess what? There's a lot of yellow in this dry grass and in that dry grass and in that dry grass. So all your dry grasses also became kind of reddish. You see that? So again, that's where either adjusting for this tone of yellow and not that tone of yellow, or masking out the stuff that's not flower. So the same comment that I had on the boats is what's going to work for here. So we're going to learn how to do that. And then here you also posted the original photo and the next photo. And in fact, in this case, it's kind of the other way around. You probably tried to change one of a lighter green or something. And then over here, a few of the more intense greens stayed green and didn't change to blue. So as you can see, this is a great overall tool, but it's not a detailed tool. So it worked very well, but not perfectly well. Does that make sense? So we're going to see how we get to perfect, how we get to making sure that only what we want gets affected and not everything else. So thank you guys for all the work that you've posted and all you're doing, because that's why you give me examples that I can then show. Mike, your concerns and complaints were about how to post and that to put in a screenshot or that kind of stuff. And on top of that, you used generative AI, and you got what you call an ugly moth that you weren't looking for.
was
So
pretty
yeah,
funny.
generative AI can be pretty surprising if you don't tell it exactly what you want. And even when you tell it exactly what you want, it can give you some surprises. So we're gonna keep working on that. But did you ask for a moth or a butterfly? What did you ask for?
Oh, God, I can't even remember now.
Okay.
I think I asked for a purple butterfly.
A purple butterfly, and you got, hey, a purple butterfly, but you're right, it looks like a pretty scary
It was
little
a terrible moth.
Okay, now, one thing, you uploaded a whole file here, which is a PDF file. See the difference? If I were
Yes,
to see this file, and when I click on it,
yes.
what it's gonna download into my computer, and I would
Right.
prefer that not to happen. So,
Yes,
yeah, the only solution is to post, but you did a thing called window snipping tool, and then you had it to drag and drop it, which is fine. That's one of the things we do. Or I put here a shortcut key that if you're on a Windows computer, you can do Windows key Shift S, copy what's there, and then just paste it into here. So that might be a little bit easier. Next time we do this, you can.
and when I tried to paste it to Padlet, it wouldn't paste into
It doesn't,
the.
yeah. You need to paste it into where the text is, like where you're supposed to write the words. You paste it.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't do that. Okay.
Yeah, it pops into the right place.
Yeah,
It's,
I think I put it onto the window icon or something.
yeah, and it
Or the
doesn't,
photo icon.
which makes sense, right? No, you need to paste it into the text, and then it slots
Okay,
itself into the right place.
that'll be easier.
Cool. And then here's more of the snipping tool with our little now green chameleon. And then Mike had a comment that yes, everyone needs to know in the catalog, the schedules are probably wrong. Okay. Not probably, but they're many times wrong. If you guys are reading the catalog, they
Really?
define it 6 months before the classes actually start. And by then there's corrections and there's changes, and then they can't change it. It's been printed. So you should always look at the online schedule if you want to make sure what's the actual schedule of the class. And maybe half the time it's right. But yeah, a lot of the initial printing has mistakes. It gives you an idea of the class is going to be there, but if you want to know exactly, please check the online schedule. Okay.
Good advice.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. And then Colette put all these photos up. This one, she mentioned that she's gonna have, it's supposed to be beautiful scarves and stuff, but the colors aren't popping up. There's a lot of yellow going on and some blue over here. So there's some color shift and stuff. So we're gonna learn how to do some color editing to work on this to make her colors pop. So yeah, that's a great example of a photo that can be color corrected to do well. And then you also posted an example of adjusting the background. So you chose this color and it, now what I don't understand, if you did use this one as your initial one, how did you get only the background to turn green? Did you mask it? Because
I
what's that?
selected it and then did the
Okay.
reverse.
Oh, you did know that. Okay. So I forget how many of you new people know or don't know how to do things. And to me, you're new. And yes, you definitely know how to. So guys, this is an example of masking. What I told you that this boat needed or the flowers needed, the color she changed is pretty much the same color as the manuscript, right? So if she tried to change this color, that should have changed as well. But she did what I said you need to do on the other ones, which is masking, and see how she masked it out so that only the background changed, but the manuscript, or in this case, what's hanging, stayed the color that it was. Does that make sense? Now you could now address only these colors and maybe take some of the yellowish stuff out if you need to have it to be lighter. So you operate on these two separately, even though it's the same image, using a mask. So that's a perfect example of what I said we needed to do for these guys to
The reason I did this is because, you know, the tool, the contextual taskbar that you gave me, I was not able to use it because it keeps, like when I move anything, it goes away and I can't reopen it.
Okay, I'll show you that.
Okay, because you showed me last week.
Yeah,
And,
we'll I'll show you the different options of having it come in and out, and then you'll be able
okay,
to know what.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Karen, thank you for posting. Karen just joined the class and she's already posting. Awesome. Adjust colors is not a contextual taskbar, it says here. And so I generated something. So we need to see what's up. It depends on what you're clicking on, what you're getting. So it is there and it's not there. That's the name contextual, right? If you click on a certain thing, suddenly you see it. If you click on another thing, suddenly you don't see
Right,
it.
it only had 2 things. It didn't have 3 things like what you
Yeah,
have
so we're
on
gonna
your.
talk now
taskbar.
about that bar and when it's useful, when it's not, and when it's confusing. Like in this case, you went to find it and it wasn't there, so you did something else, which is great. You generated a background. You guys, this is a completely Photoshop generated background behind the chameleon, which, as I always say, is almost good, but look what happened here. See how it still left a little bit of the pink background? And anyway, thanks for showing that, and we're going to talk more about that when I get into Photoshop, which we're going to get into it right now. So thanks. And by the way, when I said look at that, this is totally fixable. Okay, so it's not like this is a problem. If this is the background that you actually were hoping to have, and you have glitches like this, the thing that will fix this is also masking. Okay, so masking seems to be the answer to a lot of stuff. And if you see me here saying masking and masking and masking, guess what? It's because it truly is the solution to a lot of stuff. So let's go ahead and whoops, move over to Bridge and get going. Are there any, oh, hold on, one more thing. I sent it to you in an email and I posted it here. This was a little bit of a what you should do for homework. And I linked the class survey, and then I kind of told you what I was hoping you would do. And then over here, I had said, read this article. See, this is a PDF. If you click on it, this will download onto your computer. Or you can read it right here. Well, probably not. That's the whole point, because you can't. That's why I'm wanting you guys to download these things. So if you need to, it's in the handouts, by the way. You can get it from the handouts, but to make it easier, I put it here. So you can do right click and a download. Let me see, download attachment. Okay. And then you can download that file to read it. I hadn't shown you that, but that's how you would get this into your computer. Okay. Because if you try to see it over here, it might or not come up. It's 13 pages. You might want to sit and read it more comfortably, or no, it's 13 pages. Okay. So, and I'm not going to make anyone right or wrong for this at all, but just to know, how many of you read it? And if you've been one of the people who have read it before and you know it in and out, then give me a yes, like you read it, even if you didn't read it this time. But for people who have not read it before, I just kind of want to have an idea. So I need to see a sea of yeses and nos. Everyone has to answer. Have you read it or have you not read it? Even if it's in your past. I want to know who has that information in their brain, so to say. Okay? There's enough no's, not to make anyone wrong, but to say it's become a homework for next week. But by next week, I need you all to read it so that when I start talking about file resolution and graphic sizes and all that, I want you guys not to learn the whole thing from it, but to not have this be your first exposure to it. That is a very detailed kind of article that's very wordy, but it kind of gives you an idea of what's happening. When you're done, you won't totally know what to do, but you'll have an idea that thus when I talk about it, it'll be like the second passing of it. Does that make sense? So anyone who has never read it or who read it so long ago that you're like, oh, I'm not too clear about resolution, please read it by next class. Okay? All right. So clearing your feedback. As you can see, I'm not going to make you wrong for reading it or not, but I just wanted to see how much of the group still needed to work on it. If it was 1 or 2, I would have gone for it, but it was quite a big group. Okay. Off we go to Photoshop and Bridge. So let's start with Bridge. Click on our class. Uh-oh. These are not the class files. Oh, this is the digital design technique class files. I need to go find mine. Sorry. I haven't yet put up the summer fall summer 2025 Illustrator. I need to do some cleanup. Can you tell summer 2025 Photoshop class files? Here we go. All right. So these are the class files for this.
Recording in progress.
Let me move you guys up to the other screen so that I can have more space. Here we go. So now is when I will look like I'm not looking at you when I talk, because I'm not. I'm looking at this computer and you guys are up there. Okay. All right. So I have a question now that I need certain people on a PC need to answer. So if you're on a PC, are you seeing a preview of this photo that says .heic and this one, or are you seeing just like a little icon? You're just seeing
I'm seeing it.
No. I had to convert all the HEICs to JPEGs.
okay, but you know how to do it, others might not.
Yeah, it's a special program.
So here's the thing. The latest information I had about the new bridge is that PCs could read HEIC files, which are Apple files on a photo taken on an iPhone. And so I added some to these class files. And then in my, I believe, digital design techniques class, I discovered that people on PCs still couldn't see them.
Yeah.
So and I just found that out last night. So if that, but I couldn't tell because it was a new student and they might have just not known how to use this, but so that's why I'm asking some of my people. So
yeah.
Okay, so today we're gonna ignore any HEICs. I'm gonna download all these things, turn them into hold on, maybe you can do it yourselves. You know what? Maybe it's better for you to do it yourselves, otherwise you'll have to download class files again. Let me show you how you could do it yourselves and then tell me if it works. Give me a yes if you have a PC. I need to know who I'm talking to right now. So If you have a PC, okay, Moni, Sharon, Michael, Julia, Peggy. Okay, Peggy already converted them into, and Karen, you already converted them into JPEGs. One way to do it quickly, if you see this feature over here, it says preview, publish, and quick actions. If you see quick actions, oh, it doesn't have convert to JPEG. I thought it might have a convert to JPEG, so forget about that. You don't have the convert, all of convert files. Let me see. Nope, it doesn't have the convert to JPEG. Okay, so then we can do a convert to JPEG. Probably do it here. Let me just see if it's easier to have you do it here, because we can just do it here and then everyone just has them as JPEGs, or maybe I can just send you the new ones to replace. Let's continue with the class. I just won't use those today. And then I'll see which is the better solution for you guys, and I'll email and tell you what's the best solution, okay? So these that I put in here as HEIC, and I am so bad at acronyms, and Ed just had to leave and he always knows all the acronyms. So hi something something something. If somebody is good at Googling and wants to say what does HEIC stand for and wants to read it out to me, that would be good. It's basically Apple Photos. And it's a version of compressed image equivalent to JPEG, but according to Apple, much more efficient, less destructive, and it becomes smaller so people can have files, more files in a phone than if they were JPEGs.
High efficiency image file
Dang you. High efficiency image
container.
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 high efficiency image container. Now you see why I forget these.
Okay.
Oh, I know what it does, but the exact words kind of in and out of my ears. Thank you for that, Rebecca. So if you have an Apple phone and you take a picture, it will save it as an HEIC. The whole point is that the moment you export it, send it to someone else. If they can only receive JPEGs, it automatically converts into a JPEG. So you can share it with people who don't have Apple phones. You can email it, you can, post it, and it'll just self-convert into a JPEG. But in this case, I just dragged in here the photos straight from my folder as HEICs because I read that the new bridge could handle them. And it seems like it's not handling them on the PCs. That's news to me. So now I will work on that. Okay. We're going to do.
I just want to say, I'm able to look at it, and I'm on Windows 11.
Okay.
Me
It's
too.
not about Windows,
FYI.
it's about your bridge version. And thanks for saying that. Can
Yeah,
one of
bridge,
you guys who
bridge,
has,
yes.
if you guys open one of these right now, double click those 4 or 5 of you who have, let's all do it. Let's grab this one and everyone double click on it for a second. To double click, it's going to open up in Photoshop. So I'm going to clean your answers and I'm going to say, for whom did this photo open and for whom did it not open in Photoshop? Because maybe you guys will discover that even with the icon, it still is opening in Photoshop. I don't know. So if it opened in Photoshop, give me a yes. If it didn't, so like Michael, you said you had a PC and it opened for you. Okay.
Yes.
How about everyone else who has a PC? Karen, it opened for you. So although you were seeing a little icon, which is really uncomfortable not to see the preview, at least it opened. For Lacey, it did not. For Sharon, it did.
Actually, if I may, can I share my screen with you? Because it looks like a lot of the images, even though they got downloaded, they're not generating.
Okay, go ahead and share your screen.
Thank you.
Yep.
Can you see it? Oh, wait, sorry. There we go.
Oh, share and share. Yeah, it's too shared.
So, for instance, like these, none of those are generating. And so I tried to drag this one over into Photoshop and it says unable to load.
That's an HEIC. Can you try to, so it's all the HEICs. Let me see. No, you have some others. You have DNGs. You have some others that are not opening up. Give me a second. Go and click on one of the ones that ends as a DNG and double click on it, which is, yeah, that one, double click. Did not open because Footnote recognizes have a file. So something is.
Which is weird because I have a Mac. but it's my understanding I'm on the VDMI.
Like your camera raw hasn't loaded either, because that should have opened in your camera raw. Oh no, that's what it's saying is that no, okay. So hold on. Hold on, let me get my 1 second. Don't do anything. I'm looking for my pencil. You're not opening the camera raw here. Here you're where did my I hate it when my annotation tools disappeared. There we go. This is still trying to open your HEIC. See that?
Uh-huh.
So go ahead and say okay to that. Just for me to know. Now try to open this one, which is a DNG. And let's see if it opens it.
Double click or drag?
Double click. Nope. So that one cannot import the clipboard. You don't need the clipboard. Say okay to that again. And now let's do this. Instead of double clicking or right clicking, go over here. So let's do a right click. Do a right click and say, hold on, open with. See, you don't have camera raw. It's like you haven't installed you don't have the camera. Go ahead and try to open it with Photoshop, but it'll probably say the same thing. It's like that should be open with the camera raw, and you don't have camera raw installed. So go to your Creative Cloud. I think you should be able to find it down here. You might need to download some more stuff. Go down there. And is your Creative Cloud in here? Is that the Creative Cloud? No, go ahead and write Creative Cloud right here because I can't tell on the PC what it looks like. Go ahead and go here where it says type here to search.
Oh, I see.
Write Adobe Creative Cloud.
Okay.
Oh, here, I just saw it. There it is. Go back. Yeah, click on
Oh,
that.
I see. Okay. Sorry to hold up the class.
Don't apologize. This is, a lot of people need to know that they have an app called Creative Cloud that exists on your computer. Always keep it up to date. Oh, okay. Well, okay, go ahead and update it. I don't know, it might be quicker, it might be not, but I'm going to stop your share until this is over. But you guys, you all have, I'm going to stop your share because doing this on Zoom might also be another problem. So I'm going to stop and follow the steps. Guys, Mac or PC, you have an app that you might or not be aware of that when you downloaded all these programs, you have an app called Adobe Creative Cloud. And that's where you handle the upgrades, the updates, all of like Camera Raw and stuff like that. So maybe a little bit later when she's done upgrading and she shares it again, maybe I'll ask everyone to open theirs so that I can kind of show you around that Adobe Creative Cloud app.
Yeah.
So you'll know what to do when you need to figure something like this out. But first, let's let her update hers. Meanwhile, we need, is anyone else wasn't able to open them? So Julia, Moni, and Peggy, you guys were not able to open the HEICs. Well, Peggy already had told me. Moni, Julia, and Lacey. Okay. What happened yesterday was when they tried to open it, it said, you need to download another app or whatever, something like that. Don't do that. We're going to wait until Bridge can do that because I don't want you to have to download a bunch of other stuff. And I'm just going to change my files or have you change them. But for now,
It's downloading, so I'll just watch you until it finishes.
Lacey's issue is bigger. She can't see other stuff. She doesn't have camera raw, and we will need that. So that's not necessarily just the HEICs. And Julia on VDI, it seems can't do it either. And so that I can change VDI. So I definitely need to provide JPEGs because otherwise Julia can't open them. Even if you guys at home can fix it, she can't because VDI is fixed by the school. Okay.
Well, I can't even open a JPEG. I got a message, could not complete your request because of a program error.
Yeah,
So-
and it's exactly. So that's why I'm going to give you JPEGs, but I'm not going to. Oh, your JPEG didn't open?
No, yeah, no JPEG is opening either. Yeah, I tried different ways, open with, I was trying to drag it from the screen, I was trying to double click on the bridge. So there must be something in the program going on.
Oh my goodness, like your VDI, like your Photoshop is not opening at all. But you did the other day.
What's that? Yes,
did
the other
the
day
other
it worked fine.
But now you signed out and signed in and it's not working. Oh, okay. So
I'll just watch, but
I know
yeah.
this sounds very frustrating. Keep signing out and signing in and trying again. But first of all, call tech support because they VDI might be down. Call tech support and say, hey, is VDI down? My Photoshop isn't working. So go ahead and do it in the background. You've called them before already, right? Yeah, and find out if it's their system that's running. Otherwise, they need to be told it's not running because it's summer. Not many people are using it and they might not even know. Okay.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So I'm on VDI and I'm trying to use Photoshop. I used it last week. It worked fine. Today it's not working. Right. And so they can maybe see if it's your account, which I doubted. In this case, it's VDI, or if it's something that they have to change for themselves. Okay. Anything that has to do with VDI, I can't help with because it's completely up to the school what they're doing with the VDI installation. But I've never had this many issues, so something is going on there because usually it's just after people get on it, then we're fine the whole rest of the rest of the season. All right, so let me go back to Bridge and let's ignore HEICs. But now at least you know that if any one of you has an Apple iPhone, that's the photos that you get out of an iPhone, and you can easily convert them to a JPEG. Now.
Diana, you can also change the settings on the iPhone not to do HEIC.
But why would you? I mean, I hear you, but the whole point of meaning, yes, you can change it. You can tell it not to do HEIC, but if you can share the files any which way you want, if you can operate them, if you can open them from the Photos app straight into Photoshop and edit them, the only time there's this problem is when someone sends you, which is what I kind of did here, and posts an HEIC file and Bridge is trying to open them. And right now the PC can't. But other than that, it's never really an issue. So if you change your setting to not do that, then you'll forget in the future when Adobe fixes their program to unfix it, right? Like for those of you who have an Apple machine and do you want to open straight from Apple into Photoshop, there's a way around it. It's Bridge that can't read them. It's Bridge. It's not really an Apple issue. Yes, Sharon?
So does Adobe have any products that can convert HEIC files to JPEG?
You can do it here inside of VDI. I was trying to move inside of Bridge. I was trying to move on, but I guess we can do it here. Let me find the tool. I was trying to, you know what? Let me find the tool during break and then I will show you what it is. You can do it right here, but I haven't done it in a while and I don't remember where it is. So I'll find where it is and I'll come back to you guys, okay? All right. So let me clear your answers and let me share my screen. And okay, so back to Bridge. We're going to so I'm going to close this file, everyone. If you did open in Photoshop, go ahead and close it. For those of you for whom it did open, we're going to avoid any HICs today. Or maybe after break when I've figured out how to get Bridge to transform them, we can use them, but there's a lot of other files here. And one of the things about these files is that right now by default, Bridge is sorting them by file name. And when I say by default, as long as this thing says sort by file name, then you have the A's and the A's and the B's and the B's and that kind of thing. But many times when it comes to working on a file in Photoshop and stuff, you might want this sorted in a different way. So you could click on this and set it to sort, for example, by file type, in which case we have the folders there, the HEICs all there, then we have DNGs, JPEGs, that kind of thing, and the bottom PSDs. Or you can sort them by date created, date modified. Like there's all these different reasons or ways that you can handle them. But just so that we're all looking at the files the same way, and for that reason only, let's make sure that we all have it set up by file name. And that way, when I say the photos up there or down there, you can all kind of figure it out the same way. Now, as you saw, there's many different type of extensions. Extensions is the 3 letters that are behind the dot at the end of the image, at the end of the file name. Although in this case, it's 4 letters and Adobe Illustrator is only 2 letters. So 99% of the times it's 3 letters, but there's quite a few other extension sizes, right? And depending on what that extension is, it depends on what you can or not do or how you're going to modify an image. So once again, after you guys read that handout, the handout that that I asked you to read about resolution, we're going to get more deeply into the details of each kind of file. But just so you know, say that I click on one of these that's an NEF or a DNG. You will see files that are on the right side. You'll have metadata. Metadata is information about this photo that is not visual. So this photo, when I look at it, I have all the visual information I need. But if I need more information, all the other stuff, like when was it taken, who took it, well, not who took it, what kind of camera took it, what exposure was it taken at, how many, how big it is it, how many pixels does it have? That's the kind of information that is shown here in the metadata. So when you click on an HEIC, for example, and we're not double clicking, we're just single clicking, right here you have a little summary of all that metadata. And in the summary in the middle, it's showing you that this is a 1.68 megabyte picture. If I click on this DNG taken with the same exact camera, it's a 15.39 megabyte picture because a DNG is a raw image. A raw image is a photo that keeps all the information that the camera was able to capture and doesn't get rid of any of it. And so it's a big file. Camera doesn't process anything. It just gives you kind of what you saw. Versus an HEIC or a JPEG, these files have been processed by your camera / phone, whatever it is that you took the pictures with. And it's already, see how much smaller it is? It's 2.3 megabytes as opposed to 15.39 megabytes, same camera. And the reason you have such a smaller one is because the camera, and this is normally a JPEG right now, I'm saying HEIC because I have that one, but you would have done it with a JPEG as well. A JPEG is going to be post-processed by the camera before even you get your hands on it, and is going to compress it and is going to make it a little bit sharper, give it a little warmth, give it a little focus, and then it's going to save it. So you've already lost some of that original information that the camera was able to capture. So if you're doing a photo that's just like, oh, here, I'm just recording what I'm eating today, whatever, click on make a JPEG, make an HEIC, no problem. But if you're in a place that's unique and you know that this might be a photo that you want to print and put on your wall in big size, 16 by 20, or that you're going to sell, or you're going to turn into a competition, then you might want to always shoot RAW. But the RAW files, as you can see, are humongous, way bigger in file size than the JPEGs. Now, you can print them. Notice that the amount of pixels is very similar. 3000 by 3000 by 4000 is how many pixels this image has. That's how many cells. What's the actual size of this image is that. You would count it by pixel size, 3000 by 4000. This is the same camera, and it's a different, instead of landscape, it's horizontal, and it's 4000 by 3000. So it's the same amount of pixels. So it's not that there's more or less pixels in them. It's just how the image has been compressed, okay? And the compression robs some of the quality of the image, okay? So here we have a JPEG. It's also 3000 by 4000, and it's even smaller. It's 1.46 megabytes, okay? So all of this metadata, we'll begin to use it and to read it a bit better. And we're going to keep talking about it, but after you guys have that, that little handout under your belts, okay? But not all photos are made equal. And when you edit them, not all photos can be edited equally. Now, one more thing. When you edit a RAW file, a DNG is a RAW file, An NEF is a raw file. I think those are the only two type of raw files I have here. There's more, but I think those are the only two that I put in here. When they have been edited in any way, shape, or form, then you're going to see this little set of icons. See this tiny little, you can see it maybe better on this one. There's like these little symbol on the top. That means that that photo has been edited already in Camera Raw, and it's only happening right now to these two pictures. We're going to talk about what that means later once we begin to open Camera Raw photos. Oh, here's another one that has a little bit of editing happening, okay? Versus other DNGs that have not been edited, don't have anything on them. So we're going to see what that means when it happens and not. For now, let's go ahead and open this the same amount, it's the same set of colors. I was looking at this one or this one. Color wise, it's the same set of colors. Let's go ahead and open the tulip field. It's a bit more fun. So technically you should be able to double click and have it open, except for, was it Lacey for whom it wasn't opening, and then Julia for whom nothing is working. I am so sorry. We're going to double click, or for those of you who like right clicking, you can right click and say open with and choose. I know that a few of you guys, and I'm looking at maybe Alan, maybe others, you have different versions of Photoshop installed on your computer and you haven't gotten rid of the old ones. So then this would make sure that you're opening it in the latest one. Now, my request is if you have downloaded a beta version, some of you guys do, but Alan isn't listening right now.
Everything okay?
But let me mute him. If you guys have a beta version, what does a beta version mean? The beta version is Photoshop is trying out new stuff. And when it thinks that it's got it kind of dialed down, it sends a beta version out that if you download is like, they're not promising it's going to work and it might crash your computer, but they're sending it out and, you know, experts in the field will download it and will begin to test it and report back and tell them this works, this doesn't work. And after a while, the things that begin to work, they finally incorporate that into the new version that they update for everyone. So unless you're really good and an expert and want to do that kind of stuff, I would recommend not downloading the beta version. So if you do have it downloaded, if you double click on this, it'll open in the beta version, and your beta version is going to be different than ours and it might crash. So please open your latest one, which is the Photoshop 2025 26.81. That is the latest version. And for most of you guys, if you only have one Photoshop, you don't need to do this. This is only for people who have more than one Photoshop installed. Okay. And a simple double click should open it. How are you doing, Lacey? Have you done the updates yet?
It paused on 2% ever since I started, and it's not progressing, and it's saying that there's a problem with Photoshop. So I just have a feeling I'm going to have to call technical support.
Yes and no. Technical support of Adobe. Let me just stop my share. Go ahead. If you say cancel and stop it, can you still use Photoshop? No, because you couldn't open anything in it.
Well, so then I tried on Photoshop. I just clicked open and then shared files, and I scrolled down to tulips, and it just won't even, it's
not getting it. So yeah, there's something happening there.
It's like it's corrupt or I don't know.
So just so you know, try to open any other photo you have on your computer in case it has to do with the photos I sent you, which shouldn't be, but just to make sure that that's not the issue.
Okay.
Try. But other than that, school tech support won't help you with your Photoshop. Okay.
Oh, okay.
They only help with things that have to do with school, like VDI. So when I'm sending Julia there, it's because that's their software to make sure that students can reach VDI. But they will not help you with your Photoshop. You need to call Adobe for that. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Explaining like Zoom. Zoom is part of taking a class, so they'll help you with Zoom, but they won't help with, you know, your own personal sound is not working, but they'll help you with Zoom if it needs sound for you to take the class. So it's just warning you about SBCC tech support. It's for stuff that has to do with school. And even though you're using Photoshop to take a class, it's your application and they can't figure out what's happening in your computer and they won't. So letting you know that.
Okay.
But what I would say maybe is completely get rid of that, like uninstall everything in that Creative Cloud app. But it's the one that's not updating, and then you can uninstall everything and then reinstall. But I don't know why you're having issues with even the Creative Cloud app. So that seems a bigger deal. I think you need to call Adobe tech support.
I've pulled up a picture, but now from my computer, but I don't know how to move it into Photoshop.
You can't. You would have to go from inside of Photoshop and say File, Open.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Inside of Photoshop. Oh, look, Rebecca already posted in the chat. Call Vanessa at Adobe 916-277-0975. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
What is that, Vanessa? Is it someone in tech support that's really helpful?
She's someone through College Buys because I bought my Photoshop through College Buys.
Okay.
And she was very helpful and then finally got me to the proper people at Adobe who took over my computer and took out some bad Creative Cloud that I had like 3 computers before that kept following me. And now I can finally update my Creative Cloud and all of that works. So, you know, like I had Adobe for doing PDFs and things like that, and Creative Cloud never worked.
Oh, okay.
So she was very, very helpful.
I'm going to have to write this down. Can you email me this or something, Rebecca? So I'll put it down.
Yeah. Should I make it to everybody?
Right now it's in the chat, but when the chat finishes.
No, it's only to you.
Oh, you send it to me. That's true. Go ahead and send it to everyone. Yeah. Now, this is really, she's not tech support for Adobe, but if you purchased it through you did purchase it through the whole FCCC.
Yeah, it's through the City College.
Lacey, how did you purchase your Adobe?
With the student link, and I'm waiting to get it for is that?
Yeah. So if it's through the student link, then that I sent, then that's the person. That's right. That's the right person, and tell them that it's not working, and then they can help you handle it. Okay. Okay. Well, thanks, guys. So now let me share again. We have the tulips are open, and let me go back to Photoshop. Here we go. And it's a JPEG file, and a JPEG file will move this up. I can't see my tools. Give me 1 second. I'm moving my tools down because they are in the way of my sharing stuff. There we go. Okay. So a JPEG file could be what comes straight out of your camera. Okay. And there's a saying, SOC, straight out of camera, which means basically you've done nothing. But since it's a JPEG, remember, I already told you, your camera has already done stuff to it, right? So even though you have done nothing to it, the computer, the camera has compressed it, has reduced the amount of color available by compressing it so that it can make it really tiny, so you can fit thousands and millions in your phone. And it has already said, you know, I'm going to give this photo a little bit of help. And it just popped your colors a little bit, and it gave you a little bit of sharpness. So all of that happens differently depending on what camera you own or what phone you own. A lot of people take phones with their cameras. Everyone takes photos with their phones. So the straight out of camera is always a JPEG /HEIC now, if you're on an iPhone. But if you manipulate that photo, add stuff, create things, put a little flying bee in here, and then save it again, you could resave it as a JPEG again. So just seeing a JPEG doesn't mean that it's straight out of camera. You could have done stuff to it and then reconverted into a JPEG. But you wouldn't do that normally until it's the one that you're sending, for example, out to print, or the one that's going up onto the internet or something like that. For the most part, if we do anything to this photo in our computers, we're going to leave it as a layered file. So in this case, this image here on the far right side is showing me the background image because JPEGs do not have layers. They are just one thing, and all they are is this one background image. By the way, I forgot to have everyone reset their workspace, and I know there's 2 or 3 people who joined us today. So let me have everyone reset their workspace for a second. Head over to the very top right of this computer, and I'm making a big circle because Macs have it over here, but PCs have it over here or something like that. And we're looking for this little icon that is a rectangle. And when you click on it, it shows you all of your, oh, and because this is a Mac, I need to move it over so you guys see it. It shows you your, I'm going to put all this over here. Sorry, Mac doesn't like to share its windows, its menus. So I need to force it to show the menu by putting it in a particular part of my screen. Here we go. So now it'll show the menu. Are you guys seeing the menu?
Mm-hmm.
Am I sharing my screen? Hold on, I need to see my own. Let me stop my share for a minute and share it again because I'm not seeing. There we go. Okay. It takes a few things for me. Okay, so here we go. So we have a series of workspaces here where there's a ton of different ways to see the tools. So you could have painting and suddenly all of this shows up. You could have graphic and web and all of that shows up. You could have, you know, essentials and all of that shows up. There's a setting here called Core Tools that is pretty new to Photoshop. And if you look to the left side, this little toolbar here has less things than if we go down to Essentials and there's more tools. And if you go down to Photography, there's even more tools. Okay, so what workspace you're in really matters. I see your hands up for a second, Colette, yeah? Play around meanwhile, change all your workspaces back and forth. Meanwhile, yes, what's the question? I can't hear you.
Sorry, no, I'm all good. You
Oh.
just answered my question. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, there you go. I love it when I see 3 hands suddenly pop up, and then as I keep talking, they slowly start going down. I'm like, okay, that's great. I obviously said what you needed to hear.
Yep.
Okay. So now when I use one, let's go switch, for example, for a second to photography. When I am using this workspace, what if I suddenly want to change it? I want a tool that isn't here. What if I don't want to see something? So for example, what if I grab this thing called histogram? Everyone come over to this thing called histogram up there, click on it and drag it out. And boom, I have changed my setup. What if I grab these adjustments and I decide that I want them here, but I don't want them to be opened up? So I'm going to double click on the word adjustments, double click. Suddenly it changed. What if I want to open a window that I don't have right now? I'll go up to the word window and I'm going to open, for example, the patterns. Boom, something new just appeared. So you can keep changing and messing things all around. And what you need to do when you're done with that is to say, you know what, let me go reset this back so that I'm back to the beginning. So how do we do that? We're going to go back to the workspace and we're going to say, if I have photography turned on, we'll go down to say reset photography. Boom. And everything kind of self fixes itself, so to say. I'm going to go now to the painting and I'm going to mess the painting one up a little bit. I'm going to make this be like really big and I'm going to make get rid of the navigator and I'm going to, you know, pop open something else, the colors and stuff like that. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say reset painting and it all goes back to 0. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're lost, if things are all over the place, if things don't look like they should look, kind of one solution is to always go back and like reset. And it'll always say reset to the one that's on. Now, let's go ahead and choose photography. And then just in case you've changed something, let's reset photography. And at this point, now everyone should be seeing a very similar, if not the same layout that I have. If it's very different, let me know. Does anyone have a layout now that is quite different than mine? Nope. Colette, your hand's up again? Just make
No,
sure. No, then maybe we just forgot to bring it down. Remember I said sometimes that we'll forget that? There we go. I brought it down. Okay, good.
I'm
I
not
just,
seeing the histogram.
okay. Did you do a reset?
Down arrow and then reset essentials.
Yeah. And it could be that maybe you're clicking on navigator or histogram.
No, I still don't see it. I see swatches, gradients, patterns.
So are you in the photography?
Oh, okay. That helps.
Yeah, you're probably in painting.
Okay, yes, thank you.
Okay, so photography and then reset photography. Now, I don't need such a big histogram anyway, and I want more space for my layers. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll talk later about the histogram is, but right now I'm going to put my mouse in between like that little line under the histogram. When I try to go right under it, it'll give me a double-headed arrow, and then we can move it up just so that it occupies less space because we don't even know what it is right now. And right now I don't need you to know. So we'll move it out of the way. Then there's the adjustments here that take up a lot of space, and we're not going to use them right now either. So I'm going to double click on the word adjustments so that it collapses a little bit. Because for now, the only thing I need is to see a lot of space for layers. And when you have a small screen, this is a good way to see a lot of layer space. Does that make sense, you guys? If you're able to do this and you're able to play around with these to the point that it's looking like you have some more space under layers, then give me a yes. Now, I haven't heard much from Sharon or Karen down there. Julie, I know you're trying hard. So make sure always to give me like yeses so that I'm like, in on whatever's happening. But Sharon, I'm not sure. Are you there? Do you have questions? Well,
Yeah, I had asked a question just now. That was me.
yeah, and I was going to say you just asked, so that's good. But give me a
Yeah,
yes.
I'm following. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, I was looking at your other photo. Okay, so you're talking to me from the arches. I was looking at the other photo, and so I was noticing that one had been quiet for a while. But there you go. You're on the top one.
Yeah, the laptop. Look at the laptop. That's it. That one has mic. The other one doesn't have a mic.
Okay, got it. That's why I was like, well, that one's been kind of quiet for a bit. You're in the top one. Okay, good. All right. So yes, Karen.
Yeah, that conceptual bar, I only have select subject and remove background. I don't have that adjust colors.
Yeah. So the adjust colors is new from the latest update. So the question is, have you updated your Photoshop lately? And
I thought I did it. Yeah, I thought I just did it today, but I must have not have to.
Today. Okay, that's interesting because it came out, oh, I don't know, maybe a month ago or something like that, or a few weeks ago. Ed's always, who's not here right now, he's the one who always know when the updates come out. So it's relatively new. Let's go ahead, since I did want to show you the Creative Cloud and I couldn't show it with Lacey, and I want to show that to everyone. Why don't you share your screen? I'll show the Creative Cloud to everyone, and then we're going to take our break, okay? Let's go ahead and see if that could be what the issue is or not. Are you on a Mac or on a PC, by the way?
I'm on a PC and I have to, let me see how I'm gonna do that with you.
So now, the reason I'm also
to go into
asking,
my Zoom class, I thought I was already on my Zoom class. I think it knocked me out.
yeah, the reason I
Go
want
into it
you to
again.
share as well is because most of the other people, the first day we worked through sharing, and I haven't had you share yet, so I want to make sure that you can do it. So
Okay.
on your Zoom, there's a green button there you go. And then the second one, see you guys on a PC, it's easier. You don't have to give all these like permissions. Okay, so now let's head over to, and I don't know where it'll be hiding on a PC. So head down to, head down to your search bar right here and go ahead and write. Oh, you have it there. Hold on. Don't do that. I see it. There's your Adobe Creative Cloud. For those of you who don't see it, go and do a search and write Adobe Creative Cloud. But she has it there and it's open and running. So do you see it right there? That's your Adobe Creative Cloud app. Can you click on that?
Oh, okay. Let me click on that. Okay.
Click on that. Perfect. All right. So when it's working, this is how it should look like. And you could be in a different window. But first, before I continue explaining on it, can you all please give me a yes if you have the if you've been able to open your Creative Cloud app? give me a yes before I continue working on it with her. Did I clean my yeses? Was this new yeses? Yeah, I hope so. Okay, so give me a yes if you have the Creative Cloud app, and if you don't, for Mac people, you should go on the Mac, which is a bit different than this, but you should go up to like on the very top of your screen over here, you might see a little icon that looks like that. Otherwise, use the spotlight to find it. Do a search feature on your computer and find your creative. It's Adobe Creative Cloud, it's called. Jacob, Harry,
I'm
Alan,
looking.
Colette. Let's see if you guys can find it. Since you're able to share pretty easily, Karen, I'm going to stop your share for just a second, okay? And then I want you to share again, but I want to show people how to find it if they're on a Mac. So give me 1 sec while I share again. And then, okay. So if you guys are on a Mac, hold on, I need to move this out of the way. And you have to find something that you don't know where it is, which in this case, we'll assume you don't know how to find it. Then in my case, just so you know, my Creative Cloud app, hold on, my drawing tool is doing some weird stuff. Okay, go to this. Why is my drawing tool doing that weird thing? Okay, there's a search feature right there. See that little magnifying glass? When I click on it, it says Spotlight Search. And go ahead and write Creative Cloud, and then it'll come up Creative Cloud app, okay? And then hit the return and open it that way, okay? So that's how you would find it for you Mac people who have no idea where it is, and in fact, maybe have never opened it before. I'm going to stop my share. And can you share your screen again, Karen, please?
Yeah, let me,
There we go. All right, so hopefully by now, those of you who hadn't found it can find it. Once you find it, give me an S, but let's go back to the Creative Cloud then. So you need to click again on this little, let me click on this.
on the Creative Cloud.
The Creative Cloud, yeah, I was looking for my pencil and open that up. Okay, so over here on the left side, if you're on a Mac, there's a thing called Home up there. On the PC, it doesn't seem to be showing. But anyway, the important thing is go to the apps. And there's other things you could be looking at, files and stuff. But if you're in the apps, then it's showing you which apps you have. Now, the question is, how do you know that these apps are the latest apps? Well, over on this side, it'll tell you which ones you have installed and which ones need to be updated. And see how there's an update to Photoshop available right there? You could go ahead and say view updates to see what it is in case you don't want to update yet, or you can just go ahead and say update all, but go ahead and don't update right now because we're in class and it'll be a bit of a mess, but go ahead and click on view updates for a second. Okay, and then it'll tell you that the new update that is available is 26.81, and that's the one that I have, okay? And it has an improved things, and it might even have that color adjust that is pretty new, and it doesn't say when it came out, but this is how you guys can always do the, I know, that thing is telling me I need to give you guys a break. There's also, you've already done your recent update to Camera Raw, so that's good. So this is the only update you need to do. Maybe you can update it during break. I'm about to give a break, so then you can come back here. But then let's go back over here to the apps so that you go back to where you were before. Click on that little guy right there. Perfect. And yep. Or maybe go over here to backwards out of the updates and back into all the apps. Yeah, there we go. So sometimes when it's really old, it'll even say over here, update available, right? And then it'll say install to the ones that aren't installed or stuff like that. But over here on the right side is where you should see if you have any updates, okay? Now, just because they're an update doesn't mean you should do it, you know? So sometimes an update is really new and you want to make sure it's working first. So, you know, before you do that. But other than that, come and check in now and then and give yourself some updates. You can also set it up to update automatically, which I don't necessarily recommend because you might have a computer that's older and it can't really handle the new update. So you want to keep an ear out for that. But anyway, give me a yes, everyone who has been able to, let me clear your answers. So if you already gave me a yes, give me a yes again. Give me a yes if you were able to find the Creative Cloud, look at your updates, and then if you find that you have discovered that you have updates available, then maybe you can set up an update to happen during the break. It won't take more than 15 minutes as long as things are working. It shouldn't be whatever's happening to Lacey, which isn't working. For people who are up and running Photoshops that are working, it should happen pretty immediately. Okay, and I'm seeing most of you said yes. Jacob, you haven't said yes.
I just want to let you know I'm for some reason now I'm downloading Adobe Creative Cloud, and it looks like it'll be done by the end of the break. So don't ask me how I did it.
No,
but
sometimes magic happens. Thank you so much, Karen, for sharing that. It'll prompt you to close Photoshop to update, or you might as well close it now because we're going to go on our break and then hit update, and then it'll update. And then when we come back from the break, you can open Photoshop again, right? So that's my recommendation from everyone. Anyone who found that they do have an update available, go ahead and do that. And then for people who didn't find it, Jacob, do you want me to help you find it? Do you want to share your
I have found it, and I just want, I share my son-in-law's Photoshop, and
Oh, got it.
but yeah, I have found it. I don't want to make any changes.
Fine, but talk to him. But if you update it, it'll only update on your computer.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
But
that.
I might be wrong. No, I might be wrong about that because if you're sharing one and it says update, it won't say updated on one or the other. You're right. Check in with him and say, can you make an update, or are you going to update anytime soon?
Okay.
You're right. Because by the way, you guys, when you get one of these accounts, 2 people can use it. Now, not really. The whole point is that 2 computers can use it because the idea is that some people go to work and come home and they have a computer they keep working. So it's 2 computers can use it, but only one at a time. So if right now his son-in-law wants to use it, he won't be able to because Jacob's using it. So it's not really that 2 people can use it. 2 computers can use it, but not at the same time. But if you find that you want to be able to do that with someone, just you're going to coordinate when you use it. But yeah, you're right. You might need to check in with him about an update.
Okay, will do.
Okay. All right. So let's look at the time and let's do our break. Let me see. Let me where's my chat? Oh, I have it over here now. What's
37.
yes, Michael?
I noticed that I have Photoshop 25 and Photoshop 24. Any reason to have both?
No, you can go ahead and from the Creative Cloud app, you can uninstall it, or you can uninstall it
Thank
also
you.
from other places, but you can choose over there.
Thank you.
Let me modify that question. If anything has not been working on 2025 and your computer's groaning and it's doing weird stuff, you might go, you know what, I'm just going to keep 2024. If your computer is old and isn't very powerful, there is a place where you go, you know what, I'm just going to not upgrade my Photoshop anymore because each time you upgrade, it does take up a lot more computer power. Photoshop is adding all these artificial intelligence tools, which make it be heavier and heavier, and you get to a point where your computer can't run anymore. So if you're having any issues, maybe hang in there, try the 2025 today, and everything seems to be working, then go ahead and get rid of the 2024. But if you find that for some reason your computer begins to really have a hard time when you're using 2025, then maybe it's like you've reached the end of the road. I don't know what computer you have, so I don't know what that might be. But at some point you're like, oh, okay, I'm done. I can't really upgrade anymore. Every time I try to do something, Photoshop takes forever to do it. You're like, oh, you probably shouldn't keep upgrading. Does that make sense? All right, so let's do the 15-minute thing. Someone, 3:23, what will that be? Be back at 3, someone's good at this, I'm not.
39.
3:39 p.m. When I ask, I get it better. When I do it, I get it wrong, and someone corrects me anyway. So let's be back at 3:39. I'll see you guys in 15 minutes.
Okay.
All right. I'm back. And I think I'm 30 seconds late. I was just gonna say that I got the catalog too. Oh, you weren't the one. Someone in my other class was saying that the catalogs used to say their names and now it says current resident, and mine also says current resident. So I don't know why the change. Okay. Everyone's back. Please give me a, well, turn on your videos if that's what you do, or give me a hey ho by giving me a little green check mark to show me that you're back. And if you're not back, then I'll know. So I can not call your name. Oh, I like your little hearts, Moni. Thank you. All right. So, okay, most of you guys are here. Let me share my screen. No, before I share my screen, how did it work with the updates? Those of you who are updating, is it ready to go? Like Karen, is yours finished? Lacey, is yours working? Harry, you are updating. Is yours up and running?
So I have the Creative Cloud on my Mac, but I can't upload it on the, what's it called? VDI. That's
Oh,
where I'm having the issue.
Oh, no, you should never do that. VDI, and by the way, she just got the information a couple of days ago from the class. The VDI is for people who do not have it, who do not pay for it. Who need to use only VDI. Then they use the schools and it's fine, but it's a much bigger mess. So now you can avoid and forget VDI forever because you have your own applications installed. So forget VDI, you don't need it. Okay.
So then what did I just pay for through the school?
No, you didn't pay for it through the school. You paid for it to have it be your own.
The Adobe.
The Adobe stuff.
Right. But I won't get that for another week, right?
Oh, so today you're using it through the school?
So today I'm using it through VDI.
Okay, then that's a whole different question. Today you keep using it through VDI, and that makes sense as to why you couldn't open stuff and whatnot. It's because it's the VDI version. Once you get your version from FCCC and all that, then you install it, then you can forget about VDI.
Well, right. So that's what I don't understand why it's not working through VDI.
I did not know you were on VDI. Go ahead and share your screen. Let me look at it. But yes, VDI on Julia isn't working very well right now. So maybe it's just that. Julia, are you back? And did you get anything working, or is it still not working on yours? Okay. So this explains it a little bit better right now. You are, this that we are seeing is the VDI. Got it. I'm looking up at the top where you have this. So this is your VDI. Okay. I'm seeing over there. This is your VDI. You're in the school portal. All right. That makes sense. Now, one thing I want to say, Bridge and Photoshop do not need to be next to each other. In fact, I don't recommend that. I recommend having them one on top of each other, and we'll talk about how that works. But meaning one way to load things is to drag them, but that occupies your whole screen versus having your whole screen available to work with.
Okay.
But that at this point, it's a minor point. So the cloud isn't syncing. Make sure your VDI is updated. Okay, so inside of VDI, you can't do anything. Had I known that you're inside of VDI, which I didn't catch that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Only the school can do updates and upgrades and all that. There's nothing you can do about VDI. That's the school software, school computer, and you can't touch it. You got what you got. Okay.
Okay.
I know, but you purchased the other stuff, so you'll be able to use it.
I'm hoping, yeah, by our next class, this will all be solved.
They have to prove that you're a student. They have to send it to you. You need to go to your email, pipeline email, download it, install it, all that kind of stuff. So that's fine. So you don't need to call, Rebecca's number. You just haven't installed your own program. This is the school's program. You did not pay for this. This is free.
Right.
What you paid for is what's coming. Okay. Right. So yeah, if you can't open stuff in here, that's what was happening to Julia. Julia can't open it either. And I have no idea why and what this is happening. Julia, anything better? Nothing better yet? I mean, she used it fine. My students in my class yesterday, morning and afternoon, were able to use it. A couple of problems here and there, but they were able to use it. So why both of you can't use it today? Hopefully, Julia, did you call tech support? Somebody has to call tech support and tell them that VDI isn't working.
I did. I left them a message. Nobody was answering.
Oh, Friday is the day that they close. No, today's not Friday. Today's Thursday.
This Thursday, yeah.
Okay.
It's close enough, though. Apparently, they're not answering.
No, well, maybe they're helping someone else. Remember, it's summer. They have very few tech support people because there's very few students. All the credit students are gone, only a few take classes. So their support is much reduced in the summer. And, you know, it kind of makes sense. We don't have money to have people sitting there forever doing nothing. But when you need the help, it's a bit frustrating. So keep trying. Worst case scenario, and this is for anyone who needs tech support that has to do with the school. Let me share my screen. And I'm going to stop your share now because now I understand what's happening, which is basically you're on VDI, which VDI is not behaving right now. So I can't, you know, other than saying sorry, although I can't do anything about it. So I'm not really sorry for me. Sorry for you that you can't get to it. But what you want to do is I'm going to go to just basic SBCC. And I'm going to type in tech support. So this isn't your dashboard. This is just, and maybe they have the information in the dashboard, but here it is, IT for students. So non-credit students, we have this phone number, okay? And I'm going to put that in the chat for anyone who wants to check in with in this one here. That said, I have discovered that sometimes the people who are non-credit, especially when they leave one person and no one else, they do have longer hours. They go from 10 a.m. to 7:50 because in the summer we have a lot of non-credit classes. But if they don't know the answer, sometimes the people who might know the answer as the credit students. And when it comes to VDI or tech support that has to do with the computer working, I don't care who is on the other side, credit or not credit. This is a second set of people you can reach out to. And they have shorter hours because, as I said, very few credit classes are happening, but from 8:30 to 4:30, meaning today you can't get to them, but maybe tomorrow. If you still don't get a response from the people, and on Friday, be careful because they're only up till 1:50 p.m. for non-credit, but they'll be up to 4 for credit. So anyway, more importantly, here's the page for this information. Click on it, leave it open, and then use this, as I said before, when I said Photoshop, they can't help you and all that. I didn't know you were on VDI. Yes, they can help you on VDI Photoshop because that's their issue. Got it, Lacey? What they can't help you is once you install yours, that's when you're on your own. Okay. Thanks for that clarification. I wasn't thinking of it that you were on VDI when I said, no, they can't help you. Yes, that's their Photoshop and they better be able to help you. They won't be able to help you guys if I don't know how to use the colors adjust tool or why isn't this tool not working? But they can help with Photoshop isn't opening up, right? Google Drive isn't working. Zoom isn't happening. That kind of stuff, that's up to them. They have to install the programs and make them run, update them. You can call them and say, hey guys, it's not updating. You know, my teacher has a newer version and you guys have the older version, and they can like set it down the line to the people who upgrade and tell them, guys, update, because in the summer people still use Photoshop. They might not upgrade until fall thinking that they don't have Photoshop students. And guess what? Yes, we do have Photoshop students. You know what I mean? So that is something they can do in the background for VDI.
And just a reminder, they're closed tomorrow because it's the 4th.
Oh, and tomorrow's the 4th of July, so you won't get any help at all. So hopefully you can get some help today from the non-credit that's open till 7:50 p.m.
Okay. And I'm sorry, you don't need to apologize. I'm apologizing because I must not have I didn't clearly communicate, so.
That's fine. Since you weren't here the other day when I checked in with everyone, I just forgot to check in with you what your systems were. I just kind of started teaching. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and with Photoshop open, we're back to, by the way, Karen, did you get yours updated? And do you now see the adjust colors perchance, since that's how this all started?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much.
Great. So at least one of our problems got solved, if not everyone's problems got solved. So yeah, when you see or don't see things, it tends to be about upgraded versions, although I still don't understand why Peggy doesn't have the quick actions, but I don't know. All right. So here's a file that is flat, that is one layer, straight, supposedly straight to camera. This is not. This is a sample file that I downloaded from somewhere. When they put them up there like that, they've already worked them up, you know. So this is already a file that's been worked and reconverted into a JPEG file. But for the purposes of our sample here, it's a perfectly good photo. We are going to rather quickly do the same thing we did last week, which is adjust colors, which is the only thing we did in Photoshop. And we're going to begin to learn more stuff than that as we speak. But first, I want you guys to get acquainted with what a pixel is. Now, this is a pixel-based image, and pixel-based images are images that have that are created by cameras or, for example, scanners. Scanners create, we call them also raster files. Raster files are pixel-based images. And let's go ahead and zoom in to see those pixels. So how do we zoom in? If you're on a Mac, you're going to hold down the Command key. If you're on a PC, you're going to hold down the Control key. And for those of you who are on VDI, is your main computer is Mac. In this case, for VDI, you still are a PC because you're on a PC computer in VDI, okay? So you still have to hold down the Control key, even though you're on a Mac. But inside of VDI, you're on a PC. So Command or Control held down, and then go up to where the numbers are, and on the far right, you'll see the plus sign, and I'm going to start zooming in. Each time I tap the plus, it zooms in, and each time I tap the minus, it zooms out. So zooming in and out while I keep holding the Control or Command key down. And as I keep tapping in, I begin to get to the place where I can see the pixels, okay? Now, if you look down at the bottom of the Photoshop screen, down here, you will see a number, and I'm kind of hiding it down here, way down there. You'll see a percentage. And as I start going up, it goes up to 200%, 300%, 400%, and I keep coming up close, and the image looks distorted and kind of out of focus, and it's because I am too close. Imagine you're looking at a picture, and then suddenly you put your eyes right next to it. Wouldn't that picture look really blurry and out of focus? Because that's what we're doing. We're zooming in and in and in, and the image becomes unclear, but the pixels begin to show up. And this is like looking through a microscope at your skin. This is the cell of an image. Each one of these pixels can only have one color. And so as I move around, now how am I moving around? If you have a touchpad, you can just kind of move your two fingers around on the touchpad. But if you have a mouse, you might need to use the hand tool. So how do I get the hand tool in order to move around? I'm going to hold down the space bar. Hold down the space bar, and then I can click and drag and move my image around. Let go of the space bar, you get rid of the hand tool, and now you get to, so that's moving it around, not zooming in or out, just I'm at my max magnification, which is now 12,800. And I am looking at my pixels at a really magnified way. And I want you to notice that there are never any straight lines, no matter how straight the line might be. And in this case, it's flowers. So you would say, well, flowers don't have straight lines. Never mind. Even if this were a building or anything really straight, the way Photoshop transitions from cell to cell is going to be through little squares. So even when the line is perfectly up and down, so you would think it could go from black to green, it will not. It will do a little grading between black and green, like it's doing here: black, dark green, dark green, lesser dark green, and then light green. And that transition is what means that it's really hard to get anything to be extremely sharp the way you would if it's a drawing like you would do in Illustrator, because this is how lines are made in Photoshop. Anyway, let's go ahead and do Command minus 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 or Control minus 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 until we see more of the image. Now I'm going to hold down the space bar also and keep moving around, and you will discover that it's all looking kind of jaggedy and weird. I'm at 600%. So if I were to look at this photo and go, well, guys, there are these flowers in focus, you would never be able to tell me if they're in focus if you're looking at it 600%, because everything is blurry and what we call pixelated. It's not that the image is pixelated, it's just that the image is been zoomed up too much. So we're going to go all the way down to 100%. Go down minus, 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 minus to 100%. This is the golden number. Now, I don't want to have to be going up and down to get to 100%. In fact, I'm going to go up again. Big, 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 big. And now I want to go straight to 100%. 100% is a number that every time we open a file, the first thing we need to do is look at the image at 100%. How do we get there quickly? Hold down the Command or Control key and then tap the number 1. Boom. I'm directly at 100%. I'm going to go Command or Control minus, minus, minus. I'm really tiny. And now I'm going to do Command 1. Boom, at 100%. As you can see, I don't see the whole image at 100%, but it doesn't matter. What I am seeing is correlated to your own screen. Depending on the resolution your screen has, it's showing you this image at the best resolution it can, according to your screen, for it to look at its best. And at its best, now you can say, well, is this focus or not focused? What do you guys think? Is this a focused image? Looking pretty sharp. I'm seeing kind of nodding. Yeah, let me clear your answers. If you're able to zoom in and zoom out to your heart's content, please give me a yes. And if you're able to, what we call pan, so kind of scroll around your image at the magnification that it is with your space bar in hand, or if you have a touchpad, you can do it with a touchpad, but otherwise you need to hold down the space bar. Then give me a yes. And yes, you're right. This is a sharp image. For those of you who I saw nodding. Okay, now, even in this image, which is very sharp up front, if you actually pay attention and you go all the way to the back and you look at these flowers over there, if you really pay attention, they're already beginning to get a little bit softer, a little bit out of focus. Like if the whole image looked like that, we'd say that it's a soft photo, that it's not in focus. Got it? But that's typical of photos to have a different, like if you look at this grass, it's a bit of a muzzy layer. It's not little sharp blades of grass. And that's because of the distance in which the photo was taken. That's totally fine. We would still call this a sharp photo because the main part of the photo is in focus. Okay. Now, what if you go Command minus, 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 and then let's go ahead and do this. Let's grab our hand and push this out of the way so we just don't see it anymore. And at some point right now, I don't seem to be able to do it. Maybe it's a fix, but you were able to before move this out of the way so much that you didn't see it at all. I'm going to put it way over there so I don't see it. And I start panicking like, oh, I lost my photo. Where did it go? Good news. If you were to do what I just said, which is Command or Control 1, it fixes itself down there, which means you still can't see that something happened. But there's another one that we can do, which is Fit in Screen, which is Command or Control 0. And that fits the image back into the center, the entire image, top to bottom. You're seeing everything. Command or Control 1, you're not seeing everything. It's just changing into the best view of this photo. And to see it all, you need to scroll and pan around, not scroll, actually scrolling is different, pan around to see the whole image. But at Command or Control 0, you're actually seeing the entire image. This is Fit in Screen. Okay? Yes, there are tools for you to do this, but I like to teach certain things should only be done with shortcuts. And so I teach you the shortcuts, and that's the best way to do this. But let me show you. In the class handouts, I do have a handout that is for shortcuts. This is one of them, but it's not the tools that I'm talking about right now. The brush tool shows you some shortcuts for how to use it. I'm not teaching that one right now, but I am teaching you this one, which is Photoshop shortcuts. And notice that I'm teaching you the Command plus, Command minus to zoom in or zoom out. If you're on a Mac, it's Command. If you're on a PC, it's Control. Okay, so I've just showed you this one. And then 100% is Command 1, and see the entire image is Command or Control 0. Okay, so that's basically everything we've been practicing. There's more shortcuts than these that are important, but these are the crucial ones. So if you have a chance to go to the class handouts, print this out and put it next to your screen. That way, when you're practicing without me and you don't remember it, you can actually do this, or you can take notes, whatever you prefer. You'll be learning more than these, and we'll be using a couple ones, but these are the ones that I repeatedly use, like minute by minute daily. So it's good to have them under your skin. Now, one thing is I will always be saying them. And if I always say them, you don't need to learn them because you'll hear from me, Command 1, Command minus. The test is, can you do it on your own, right? And that's why when you're with me, do it so that you get this muscle memory going and you go, oh yeah, I was supposed to do something like this. And for those of you who are too new to Photoshop, you're like, really? Should I be learning shortcuts already? And I'm like, yeah, why not learn the good habits from the very beginning? All right. Otherwise, I can't tell you how frustrating it is when someone shares their screen. They've been using Photoshop forever, and I see them going each time to get their tool, each time to move up and down. And I'm like, oh, there's a much better way of doing this. So learn it right now and you never have to unlearn it, right? So anyway, zoom in, Command plus, Control plus, zoom out, Control Command minus, Command and Control 100%, Control Command 0, fill your screen. Get really good at that. That's part of your homework. Get comfy with that so that we can move around our image in good shape. Okay. All right. Thanks, Jacob. I got your message. Perfect. There's another message that Harry put in there in case I knew. I try to read the chats, but I'm not always on top of what people are writing. So if you ever said something important that I didn't catch because you put it in the chat, please remind me. But Harry was mentioned that he takes photos on his iPhone that are raw images. And yes, that's true. I took a lot of raw images with my phone. In fact, a lot of the DNGs that are here are photos from my summer vacation, which I will tell you more about my trip as we open files. But I just took a amazing, incredible 2-month vacation, traveling all over the place. And I brought some of those photos in here. And some of those are those HEIC that I need to change now, but some of them are those raw files. So yes, with a camera that's newer than an iPhone 12, you can do raw photos. And with I don't know exactly the models of the Androids, but it was a bit before the iPhone that you could do raw images. The newest, I have an iPhone 15, the iPhone 16, it's crazy how good their raw images are. But if you ever want to do that, it's not automatic. You don't pick up the camera on your phone and immediately take a raw image. That's something that when we talk more about raw, you'll see the difference and see if you want it, but you need to change it in the settings to change and have your photos take a raw image. But just wanted to mention that because to clarify the comment that he made. Okay. And yes, it's scary. I did not take any, I was hiking and backpacking and I did not take any of my good cameras. I just took my phone and, you know, you make do with what you have. And if what you have is a good phone, it's not the same as having the good old lenses and everything, but it is amazingly good images anyway. So that's what I did. So anyway, if you want to take raw images, explore your camera settings on your iPhone. And I do explore those settings in my iPhone class, in my photos class. So anyone who wants to know more how to use their phone and organize their images and stuff like that, I'm teaching that class on Monday afternoons. And it's pretty full. So if you want to sign up, you need to email me because I need to give you special permission to sign up because right now it shows up as closed. Okay. Back to
what was the name of the class?
It's called Living the iLife. Bizarre name. Living the iLife. Yeah, never mind. It used to be named that. We're in a year, it should all be different because I'm finally changing all the files and all the names, but it'll take about a year to make the system. And I've been promising this for years, and it's finally happening, you guys. These classes will finally get better names. But in that one, I teach you all about photography, handling and stuff like that on your phone. Okay, not all about, but as much as I can. All right. So we've zoomed in, we've zoomed out, we've figured out how to find those photos that disappear. And yet look at when I have my photo at 100%, when I look down at the same place where I was looking at my percentages, in my case, it says 39.68%. It will probably be different for you. Go ahead and look at whatever number you have. And I assure you, I doubt anyone has exactly the same number as me, because it all depends upon your screen resolution, how big you have it, yada, yada, yada. So when you open a photo, before you start doing anything, you need to go look at if it's a good enough quality for you to spend, you know, ages doing something with it and modifying it. And so the first thing you do is Command or Control 1. It's kind of like the safest thing to do, because then you go, oh, this is where the group 2 people had their eyes closed. Let me go with the other one where 3 people have their eyes open. You know what I mean? Like this is when you really see what's happening in a photo. All right. Let me go back to Command or Control 0. Now, I gotta clean those little pink drawings that I leave behind. Okay, so what kind of things can I do to this photo? Well, what are these tools for over here? And what are these tools for over here? Well, on the left side, it's like saying, I'm gonna go grab a pencil. And you walk over to your pencils, or I'm gonna go grab a paintbrush. You go over to paintbrushes, and then you go, well, yeah, I need that paintbrush to be a big fat one or a tiny skinny one, or I'm gonna paint my house and it's actually a big old, house painting brush. So on the left side, you can go grab a brush, but there's so many things that look like a brush. My recommendation is to tap the B for brush on your keyboard, just the B for brush, and boom, a thing that looks like a paintbrush got selected. Did that work for you? So it's possible that you could have found it, but if you kind of look up and down, there's so many brushes that this is a shortcut to grab the right tools. Now, the one tool that you want to be in when you're not in a specific tool, doing something with a specific tool, you should always be in this tool right up at the top. And that's the selection tool. It's also called the move tool. And the shortcut for that one is the V for move. So let's go ahead and hit the V for move. And you see how you jumped up to that one over there? So let's go back to the brush and then back to the move tool. And you'll see that it went back and forth. Okay. There's others. There's the P for the pen tool. And there you go. Suddenly you're looking at a pen tool. There's the H for the hand tool, which I already showed you a better way to get the hand tool, which was by holding down the zoom, the space bar. There's the Z for the zoom tool. And I just showed you a better way by doing Control plus, Control minus. But there are tools that do all these things. There's the C for crop, all right? The I for eyedropper, which I know it makes no sense because the I you write with E, but the I for eyedropper. So you see how I'm slowly grabbing a bunch of these tools with all these letters? You don't need to know all these. You need to just remember a couple. And the one that's a really good one to remember is the B for brush, because there's so many brushes, or the V for the original move tool, because that's kind of the one that when you're not doing something else, you want to use you want to kind of go home to the V for move tool. So let's make sure everyone that you're in the V for move tool. And then just pay attention to my screen for a minute and notice that when I'm in the V for move tool, I see certain things up here. And when I'm in the B for brush tool, I see other things up there. See that? And where I'm on the P for pen tool, I see others. So this here is a bar that changes according to the tool that I'm using. So if I go back to the B for brush tool, I can choose if I want a big fat tool, a big fat brush, a tiny thin brush, an oblong brush, a brush that looks like a sponge. So I can make my choices over here about what kind of brush I want before I start using it, okay? So this is the control bar, so to say, for each tool. Let's go back to the V for brush tool. So whenever you get a brush, whenever you get a tool, it'll be modified here in a certain way. The next time you choose that certain tool, it'll be in whatever setting you left it. So if you left it at a big fat brush, when you come back to the brush a day later or 10 days later, it'll be set at the big fat brush. And then you change it to a really skinny brush, you use it and you leave Photoshop. When you open Photoshop again and you get a brush, it'll be back at that little skinny brush. So it's always at the last brush you used, the last setting. It inherits the last setting. Does that make sense? So you always need to check on these settings up here to bring it back to whatever you want it this next time. All right. So right now we're going to start with this move tool, which is this crucial beginning tool. And if you've just used Photoshop for the first time and you've never changed anything, the settings for the move tool should look like this. The auto select should be turned on. This should say layer. Maybe I think the default says show transform tunes as well. Those of you who just opened Photoshop for the first time, is this one turned on for you guys? Yep, says Colette. Okay, I always have someone who's new who can keep me straight because sometimes I forget what the defaults are. All right, so if that is all turned on, that's how they set your tool. I might ask you to make some modifications to this one, but let me first have us use it this way. So everyone who doesn't have it this way, if you want to change it a little bit just to see and then choose which one you prefer, the auto select and the show transform tools should be on, and this should say layer. So clearly auto select means select the layer. But here is where we have our layers bar, and we don't have any more layers on this one that I know of. I don't know about you guys, but we don't have any more that I can see. So we're going to have to add another layer to completely understand what's happening. But the first thing I want us to do before not having another layer is to go, oh, this is the move tool. Let me go ahead and move this image. So I'm going to click and drag to move it, and it's going to go, nope, cannot do that. It's going to say, the current selected layer is the background layer. We cannot move it. Go ahead and say cancel. Do not say convert to normal layer. Say cancel. And now the reason it's not moving is because it's locked. When you first open a JPEG, it is always locked. That means that this is not a layered file. The moment you unlock it, and it's as easy as clicking on this lock, boom, I've unlocked it. Now you have a layered file, and this is called layer 0. The moment you have a layered file, even though it's only one layer, you would not be able to save this file again as a JPEG because JPEGs do not have layered files. So even though nothing else has changed in this image, other than unlocking that layer, it is now impossible to be saved again as a JPEG, okay? We'll see how that works as we go. But since I had the auto select turned on and the show transform tools, these white boxes that turn on, those are the show transform tools. I really, really, really don't think these should be turned on automatically. I don't like that. And in fact, it can get in the way a lot. So my recommendation right now, before others, I will give you the choice, but this one, I will not. I will say, turn off the show transform controls. Turn that one off. We don't need those, I would say, almost ever. And when we want them, look how easy it is to turn them on. Go ahead and do a shortcut called hold down your command or control key and then tap the T. Boom, we've turned them on. That's how easy it was. So we don't need them on almost ever. So why would we have them on if we don't want to? So now to get out of that, to get out of the transform, let's hit the escape key, which is the top left key of your keyboard. And now you're out of them. So if you want them, it's command or control T. If you don't want them, you hit the escape. Whenever we need to transform, which means we're going to make this image smaller or bigger, and I still recommend not doing it. You're going to learn why. It's a tool you should be using very sparingly. Then you can turn it on versus having it always on, which means you could always be about to ruin your image. So that one is a for sure turn off, do not leave on. All right. Now that we have the show transfer tools turned off, I see there's some hands. Give me a second. Now let's move this thing and let's see if it moves now. And yeah, we're finally moving it. Now this is different than what we were doing before. Before we were moving it, but we were seeing the whole image. Now we're actually moving it like it's a loose photograph inside of a frame and you're just kind of trying to place it somewhere. Do you see how it's moving all over the place? That's because we disconnected it from the background. Now, we want to put it back where it came from. We're going to just kind of move it over and it'll kind of snap into place when it's near enough. Snap, snap. And you see those pink lines that turned on? Those pink lines that turned on are showing me that in the center, and it's centered to the middle and it's centered to the side when it gets to the right spot. And then I can let go and now it's back to the right place. So everyone practice moving it in and out and then snapping it back into the same place. And if you move it right after you let it go, it'll move again. So just try again to lift your mouse out and not like drag it and then it'll snap. Okay. I'm going to clear your answers, which you don't have any on. So if all of this worked, please give me a yes. If it didn't, I know Colette don't because I want your hand to stay up. Everyone else, give me a yes if this is working. Give me a no if it's not working or if you have any questions. Yes, Colette, what's your question? Oh, you're muted. You guys, I teach, let me just tell you, I teach bazillions of hours a day. I always have to tell people to mute yourself. When I am a student, when I'm a meeting in a webinar, I always start talking and people have to tell me, you got to mute yourself. It's like, oh, it's such a hard one. So don't worry if I have to say that. It's just what happens, you know? So anyway, yeah, Colette?
Oh, when I do the command T, I get a window, an error window that says could not complete the free transform path command.
Are you still maybe locked? Is that why? Let me see. If you were to be locked and you said that? No. Let me see why you might be getting it. Go ahead and share your screen. Not that you need to complete it anyway, because my point was just showing you how to turn it on and off, but that you should be getting that message. So give me a quick share. Okay, go ahead and say okay to that, and then let's try that again. You have a layered file. If you click and move it, let me make sure that it's moving. So don't do the Command T or Control T. Just click and drag to move it. Oh, you have a selection. I got it. You have a selection. Okay, I know why. Okay, you have the auto select, show the transform tool. Okay, go ahead and do that again. Command or Control T. Yeah, you have a thing going on over here, and let me show. That is kind of weird. You have like a little selection happening? See that little blue dot that's over there?
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of, yeah, it's weird. So say okay to that. Say okay to that box because otherwise it doesn't work. And now go up to the word select at the top of your screen. Click on that word select and then say deselect.
Here?
Yeah. And let me see if that's it. Why do you have that little spot there? Let's do this before we do anything else. Go over to this little guy, which is your history. And just in case something else happened, click on that. Yeah, you have other stuff. Oh, you made a little work path. That's why. Okay, click on this thing over there. When you had your pen, you did something. Never mind. Go click on this
Okay.
word that says tulip field. Go up there and click on that. And I'll teach everyone how to use the history. Right now, I'm just walking you through it. Click on that. You're not clicking on it. You need to, are you frozen? Yeah, looks like you're frozen. Yep, she froze. Okay. I don't know why you're freezing, but you froze. Let me stop your share because sometimes sharing causes your computer to not, oh, I can't even, am I frozen? Can you guys hear me? Yeah, so Colette froze. So we're gonna wait and see if that means that she's gonna drop out of class or not. And then she'll come back in, but she has the iPad. So Colette, if you can hear me through your iPad, your computer's frozen. Oh, there we go. She dropped out. So when she comes back, we'll fix her problem. All right. I'm going to clear your feedback because I don't remember what that was for. I asked something. I think I was asking if this worked, that you moved it back and forth and all that. But yeah, I was asking if you're able to move your background and snap it back in. If that worked well, give me a yes. And I'm going to go and show you, once Colette comes back, what it is that I meant about the history, but that helps me see what you guys were doing so that I can figure out what the problem is. And you can do that yourself. All right. I don't see many yeses. Does that mean that no one's answering, or does that mean that you just forgot to answer? If you're able to move,
You cleared us. So
yeah. So since I didn't remember what those were, I'm saying answer again. If you're able to move back and forth and center it and then just pop it back into place, give me a yes. All right. Karen, how's it going with you and Sharon?
Yeah, I'm just not fast at getting my yeses, but it's, yeah.
Okay, good. You don't need to be fast. At some point, just turn it on. And Sharon, how are you doing?
Oh, look at my laptop.
Oh, again, I'm doing that to you, Sharon. I'm sorry. For some reason, when people have, okay, here's what's happening. When people have a video of themselves and a second laptop, I'm always aware that they have a second one. But in your case, since it's two photos, I keep looking, I don't know why, at the bottom one. I apologize. Thank you. All right. And then Julia can't do the work yet. So that's it. And then Alan, were you able to move around your background? You're muted, so I can't hear you. I'm going to share my screen again to keep
Yes,
going.
I was able to.
Able to. Okay, perfect. All right. As you can see, I check in with everyone who doesn't answer. So until you learn to get to your yes quickly enough, I'll always call your name and you're welcome to go, yeah, I'm getting there. That's fine. All right, I'm going to clear your answers. Okay, so let me show you what we're going to do about this layer. We're going to go ahead and open another file, and we're going to bring a second photo and put it on top of this one. Okay. And in fact, maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just open a layered file already. Let me see. I think I brought one. Let's go to Bridge. And let me see if I brought that layered file. I probably did not layered file then to here. Or Colette's coming back in. Oh, I don't have layered files, so we're gonna have to make one. Okay. So we're gonna go to this file, which is well, I'm looking for the tiny one. Where's the tiny one that I have? I always have a tiny one. Here, this is a tiny file. So down here, by the L's, and in your case, since depending on how size you're at, you might have it somewhere else, but look at the one called light question, okay? We're gonna go ahead and open this file and put it on top of the tulips, okay? So first thing we're gonna have to do is just double click on it to open it up. It's a PNG. We'll talk about that in a minute. And it's very bad quality. It doesn't matter. Just open it up. Hi, Colette. You're back. Oh, your sound is off. But yeah, I was helping you, and then boom, you suddenly got frozen and you disappeared. So go ahead and unmute yourself if necessary, and then I'll help you with whatever you were doing once you have a chance and you're okay. Are you ready to share?
Yeah, am I back? Am I unmuted?
Whoa.
Am I still muted?
All right, so give me a second here. Let me just show everyone else what I'm doing. I went to Bridge and we're opening the light question image. So we're double clicking on it and it's going to open in Photoshop. And now we have two files open. We have Tulip Field open and light question open. If that's where you're at, then that's good. Otherwise, keep working on that while I stop my share and let Colette get out of the mess she's in so that she can keep helping. Can you share your screen so that she can keep working?
Yeah, hold on. Let me give you my screen share here. Where are we? There we
All right. So I was directing you towards the history tool, which is that one up there. Go ahead. And
Yep.
I don't
I
see
got it.
Click on it. There we go. Oh, there we go. And yes, you are there already, so that's good. Now I need you to do one more thing, which is I need you to unlock this layer again to be in the same place we were at.
I gotcha. Okay.
Perfect. So now you're back to where we were. Now you can try that transform tool and you'll see that it'll turn on and off. And then when you hit the escape, it'll turn off. Okay.
Got it.
Then
Okay.
with your move tool, you can now drag this flower out of the way and then put it back in where it should be. Okay. And now you can snap it back. Kind of when you get near enough, then it kind of does this little thing, which is a snap. There we go. Okay, cool. Now go to Bridge. Let's open Bridge. Yep, down there. And we're going to open. Whoa, you need to reset your settings here. Okay. Yeah. So put your mouse right in between these two and drag it over so that you see, you definitely don't need, yeah, click and drag. There we go. And even then we don't have this, the metadata stuff that's here. So let's go to Essentials. Go to
not there. Right. Sorry.
no, it's not there. It's not there. So you need to do here what I'm telling you. Go to this little arrow right there. It's like a little, yeah, click on that. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Go to Essentials and let's see if when you click on it, you get a pull down menu. Yep. And now there we go. Go to this little tiny little arrow that's next to the word Essentials. Yeah, and then say reset to saved layout. The first choice. There we go. And now we're set. Now go ahead and open, which is the one that I said, like question this one. Go ahead and click to open that one. Okay, good. You're set. I'm going to stop your share.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. And here we go. So we have, had we known from the beginning that we wanted to put two files, one on top of the other, we could have done it straight from Bridge, just so you know. But since we have two files right now, and one has to be on top of the other, we're going to do something relatively similar. First of all, notice that this one is already a layered file. See how it doesn't have the word background and it isn't locked? So this is already a layered file. What we're going to do right now is we're going to copy this and we're going to paste it onto the tulips. So how do we copy this? We're going to first do a shortcut that is called select all, which is Command A or Control A. So Command A, and see how suddenly we have little lines, little marching ants they're called, okay? Control A or Command A, you should see lines that are kind of moving all around this image. Did that work? Okay, now we're going to copy it. There's many ways of bringing photos in. This is just the quickest, easiest way. A lot of people know how to do the shortcut for copy. If you don't, it's Command C or Control C. Command C for the Mac, Control C for the PC. So I'm going to do Command C, and now we have copied this image. Now, let's go and open the tulip field again, which is over here. So, okay, so light question and tulip field. And now we're going to paste that one in here. And you'll be surprised to see that it's pretty tiny. We're going to do Command V, like move, Command V or Control V. And here we go. We have pasted the little image on top of the tulips. Once you have done this and you've been successful, give me a good old yes. If you're running into trouble or you need help, give me a good old no. All right. I am waiting for the answers for the people who are still working on it. But if you're in trouble and you need help, just speak up and tell me that you need a hand. All right. So now I'm not going to ask Sharon this time. I'm going to look for the second one, and she's saying yes. Thank you. And Julia can't do it because her stuff isn't working. How about you, Alan and Colette? How's it going back there? Is it working for you, Colette?
Yes.
All right. And
Looking
Alan,
for
are you
my-
able to copy paste? I can't hear you. You're muted. You're still muted, so I hear
Oh,
you.
now
There we go. Now you're unmuted. Yeah.
I did it.
You did it. Perfect. All right, guys. So now that we all did it, look over to the right side. And one thing that you'll see is that now we have two layers. We have layer 1 and layer 0 over here in the layered area. I'm going to go ahead and clear that drawing. But yeah, we're back to seeing that now there's 2 layers. And since layer 1 and layer 0 are kind of like, what do they mean? How about we give them a name? Let's double click on the word layer 0. Just my finger has to be pointing right on the word layer, not over here. If I double click over here, this weird thing will pop up. Let's say cancel to that. We need to literally be over the little word layer 0 to double click to change its name and to now call this one tulips. So I'm going to just type in the word tulips. Okay. So once again, you have to be able to click, double click, and then type tulips, and then hit the return or enter key to get rid of that, to seal that name in. And then we're gonna double click on layer 1, and we're gonna call this one blocks, which, is very generic, but at least it's what this image is. It's blocks. Okay. All right. If you were able to change your file names, your layer names, give me a yes. When you just have 2 things, it could have been so easy to just not change them because who cares? You know exactly which one it is. But it does get to a point where you begin to have a lot of layers and you want to be clarifying what they are. And this is always how you can name the files to know what each one of these layers are. All right. So we have blocks, we have tulips, and now we want to move the blocks. So I'm going to select the blocks and I'm going to move them around. So I'm just going to click on the blocks and move them around. Perfect. It's working, right? I can get them out of the way to the point that I don't see it anymore. I can bring it in. I can bring it up and down. It's moving. Great. Now I want to move the tulips. So I'm just going to click on the tulips and I'm going to move the tulips. That worked pretty easily, didn't it? I'm going to select the tulips, move the tulips around. Now I'm going to put them back in place. Now I'm going to move the blocks around. It all looks really easy. If that's working for you, then I'm not going to even bother having you say yes or no, because unless it's not working, let me know. But that's easy, meaning the tool, the move tool is set in its easy function when it says auto select layer, because in fact, the moment you touch that thing, the layer gets selected. So if I touch the blocks, now start to pay attention to what I'm doing. Now let's get out of like easy mode and look over here what's happening to understand. When I select the blocks, see how my blocks layer got a little bit lighter and the image has like a little line around it. Now I'm going to select the tulips and see how the tulips got a little bit lighter. Does that make sense? So the dark one is not selected and the light one is selected. So here I'm moving my tulips. I have like a black line and then I have the word tulips is this whole thing is lighter. And now I'm going to click on blocks and the blocks got lighter. So the right layer is being selected the moment I touch it with this tool. Okay? All good with that? If that all makes sense and you saw how the colors change, that means that one is selected over another. If at this point everything is working, give me a lace. Give me a yes. I was looking at Lacey who said yes, and I said, give me a Lacey. Give me a yes. Okay, good. Now, most of you guys are saying yes, so I'm going to go ahead and clear your answers because that was just showing you stuff that is, yeah, the easy way. Now we're going to go the not so easy way, but I'm going to show you why the not so easy way is also good. But first, we're going to show you the negative of this easy way. Let's do this. Over here where there's blocks on top of the tulips, I want the blocks to be under the tulips. I want the blocks to be under the tulips. So I'm going to grab this blocks layer and I'm going to actually drag it down. And see how there's a blue line that pops in? When the blue line is under the tulips, I'm going to let go. Now my blocks are under the tulips. All right, so if you were able to move the blocks under the tulips, now how do I grab those tulips to move them, the blocks to move them? Can you grab those blocks if you don't see them? I can grab the tulips, but I would have to move the tulips out of the way, grab my blocks, put them at the bottom, take the tulips back, and boom. But I can't grab the blocks if I can't see them. Does that make sense? So that's the negative of this version. Now, you might say, well, if I can't see it, do I care where it is? Well, sometimes, yeah. You're working on a lot of layers and you just know that something needs to be a little bit in a different place and you want to move it. There's so many other reasons to do this, but right now this is like the absurd example for you to understand that when you're in the version where if you touch it, it moves, which is what this is, then you can't work on anything that you can't see. And there's a lot of times that in Photoshop, we work on things we can't see, like masks and selections. There's a lot of stuff that you work that you can't really see, but that you do know that you're working on it. And that sounds like magic, but you'll see, it is true. So I'm sorry, but I'm going to make life a little bit more difficult for you. I'm going to have you turn off the auto select layer right there. Let's turn it off. So now you have the auto select turned off and the show transform controls are turned off. So now if you select the layer out here by clicking on tulips, you can move the tulips. Great. Let's leave them out of the way a little bit so you can see what's happening. Now, don't go touch the blocks. Don't go touch the blocks. Go select the blocks layer. Select the blocks layer like that over here. Select the blocks layer. This is going to look counterintuitive. Now, do not touch the blocks. Go over here. Doesn't matter where. Over the tulips, over the empty space. By the way, this is emptiness in Photoshop. This little grid is emptiness. And now click and drag. And you'll see that you're moving the entire layer. Doesn't matter where the blocks are. I'm not touching the blocks. I am just touching, I've selected the layer and I'm moving that layer. Yes, I can touch the blocks and move it from the touching the blocks, but it's about the layer now. Does that make sense? Now I'm going to go and touch the tulips layer. And now without touching the tulips, I'm going to move the tulips by selecting the layer. So now it's about whatever's on the layer gets moved depending on what gets selected on the right side. Does that make sense? Select the layer, you move that layer. Select the layer, you move that layer. So it's not auto selecting the layer, you have to select the layer. I know this is the unpopular setting, but it's me teaching you how to do things right from the beginning. It's the unpopular setting because, oh, I need to go there each time I need to move something. Yes. But you will see as we move forward with so many things that the only way to work with it is to first select it, that this is basically teaching you to always select before you work on something. Because for 90% of the other tools, that's how it's going to be. So why would you not also do it for selecting? Then you forget, and then you start being like messed up because the auto select was on, but then you try to auto select the mask and the mask doesn't auto select because you can't touch a mask. And so how do you move the mask? Well, you would select the mask layer to move it. Does that make sense? So this is kind of setting you up a little bit again early for something that you want to just get good at because you don't know the difference right now. Select, if you want to work the tulips, select the tulips layer, work on the tulips layer. Select the blocks layer, and then you work on the blocks layer. Does that make sense? Now, the whole point is that if I have my tulips on the top and I can't see my blocks, well, no problem. I can select my blocks layer and I can still move my blocks around. Actually, hold on. Photoshop, here we go. I can still, if I select my blocks layer, right? Then I can move my blocks around. And even though you can't really see here where you're moving it, if I look over there, yeah, I move my blocks to the top. And now if I move it down there, I move my blocks to the bottom, which right now seems kind of trivial and unimportant, but I'm just showing you that as long as the layer is selected, you are acting on a layer, even if it's not visible to you. The only reason it's not visible to you, it's because the other one is on top, but you're still working on that layer. If all of that worked for you and it made sense to you and you got it, then give me a yes. All right, cool. Getting lots of yeses, including from Sharon. I'm looking at the right image now. All right, cool. Colette, how's it going over there?
Good.
That a yes? Okay, good.
Oh, there it is.
For those of you who ever notice that why is she going on me and not on Julia, who's not saying yes, is because I know that Julia can't do this. So don't ever consider that I'm like calling on you and not on others. It's because I'm aware that's happening. Or I'm aware that, you know, Moni has got the yes on the other side. The only one that I'm making that mistake on all the time is Sharon. But anyway, most of the times I'm aware of the second yes and that I don't call. But it's not because I'm targeting you. It's just because if you didn't say yes or no, I'll just call your name. That's all. All right. Cool. And it's only because I'm trying to help, because many times, let me explain. Sometimes you're slow getting to the yes. That's fine. You just need to say yes. But a lot of times people are struggling with something and they don't have time to go say no. They're still struggling, right? So when I call on you, and if you didn't have time to say yes and you say yes, then good. And I move on to the next no. But if someone didn't answer and I say, hello, what's up with you? You didn't say yes or no. So I say, how can I help? Then they'll go, well, it's not working for me. So normally the person who hasn't answered, it's because they haven't had a time to go and say no. They're just still trying to make it work. Does that make sense? That's why I call on people who don't answer, because 90% of the time they didn't answer because they're having trouble with whatever we did. And that's how I give them a hand. Okay. Cool. Now let's move the blocks up to the top again. And now we put the blocks above and below and above, and that's how we get ourselves to have a file that has layers. Now, we haven't done anything to these images yet, but let's go ahead and have some fun and do a little bit of something to these images. First of all, we don't need to see both of them at the same time. What if I want to see the blocks, but not the tulips? How would I do that? Well, see these little eyeballs that are over here? I can just say, turn off the eyeball on the tulips, boom, and now I'm only seeing the blocks. Or I can turn on the eyeball on the tulips and I can not see the blocks. They're still there, but they're not visible. Or I can turn the eyeballs off of both of them and see none of them. And all I'm seeing is this is Adobe showing you air, nothing. This is this little gray and white, and depending on your computer, it's bigger or smaller, darker or lighter, but basically this is the nothingness. This is emptiness. I know. It's my alarm reminding me that class is almost over. I can keep going like a steam train. I don't stop. If I don't have alarms telling me, I keep going. So that's why I have to remind myself with little noises. All right. So we're going to turn both of these guys on again, but now you can move them up and down and you can see them or not see them. Okay. Now let's turn off the blocks for a second. I just want us to really quickly do to the tulips what we did last week to the chameleon. I want to change one of the colors, and that's just to make sure that everyone gets a chance to work on this contextual toolbar, because Colette, I believe you were the one who said that it keeps coming and going, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's
Yes.
show you something about this toolbar. I'm going to move it over here. And how did I do that? By touching this tiny little line. That's where you move it around from. By clicking on this little guy right there, you can put it in a place that you prefer. Now, on the other side of the toolbar, there's 3 little dots. So let's click on the 3 little dots and let's say reset bar position. Okay. So when you don't do anything and reset the bar position, it kind of lives kind of down there. If you're in a different one of my classes, Illustrator, it moves all over the place and it's even more frustrating. But when it's down there, it should kind of hang down there for a little bit. I actually don't even want it there sometimes because I would prefer not to have it over my images. So sometimes I'll move it out of the way or I'll do weird stuff to it. And then I'm like, where did I leave it? So let me just show, what if instead I said 3 little dots and I said hide bar. I'm going to hide the bar. Now it's gone. And if it's gone, how do I get that bar back? There's the shortcut and then there's the long way. The shortcut only works when you see some empty background. So in this image that I'm like Command minus or Command 0, that I'm seeing some empty background, right? I can right click on this background and I can say show contextual taskbar again. And here it comes up. Okay, so
I
I'm gonna
missed that. I was somewhere else.
hide the bar. Okay, 3 little dots and hide the bar. And then bring it back by going to this outside the image space, right clicking and say show contextual taskbar. That's great, but it only works if you have outside space. What if I have zoomed in to 100% Command 0 and I don't have any of that gray space? What if I hide the bar right now? How do I get that bar back? So I went and zoomed into Command 1. I'm aware that something's happening behind you, Colette, so I'm going to repeat that. Command 1, so that I don't have space outside of this flower. And now I hid that bar by going to the 3 dots. So now the only way to bring it back is to go up to Window, go all the way down to Contextual Taskbar, and turning it on from that set of choices. Okay, so technically, it shouldn't disappear anymore as long as you have it on. Now, I'm going to go back to Command 0. I'm going to leave it down there. And hopefully that helps, Colette. If it keeps appearing and disappearing, we need to have you share a screen and figure out why. But for now, let's assume it's there. And because I'm aware that we have only 2 more minutes of class, we're going to really quickly adjust the colors of some of these flowers, save the file, and continue with this kind of material next week. And so what we're going to do is we're going to click on the little adjust colors button right there. Oh, by the way, let me undo that. You need to be selecting your tulips layer. Okay, remember, whenever we do something, now we need to select the layer that we want to do things to. So we want to do things to the tulips layer. We need to select the tulips layer. What does selecting mean? Just click on it. Because it could be that you're selecting the blocks layer even though you're not seeing it. Could be that you're selecting the blocks layer. Seeing it does not mean it's not selected. So now select your tulips layer. You're looking at your tulips layer. Let's adjust colors. And the image got kind of checked out. And now I am seeing a bunch of different colors, and I am going to change the one that's the most prevalent, which is, I guess the green is the most prevalent color here. Well, maybe yellow because it's pretty intense. So I'm going to go click on the yellow color. And I'm going to go ahead and move it around and make little bluish, purplish flowers in the place of the yellow one, or pinkish, anything. Now, if you really pay attention, I'm going to go ahead and double click on this little triangle to bring it back to middle. I want you to notice that the green is also changing because there's yellow in the green, right? So as I change the flowers, look how I'm getting my green also to change. That's the kind of stuff we're going to begin to work on next week to really isolate the color. Okay. And if you don't want to change the yellow, I'm going to double click, and instead I'm going to change maybe the reds, and I'm going to move this one over here to change the reds to a different color. This time the green didn't change so much. Okay. Doesn't matter what you choose to change or not. What I want you to see is over here to the right side that we have a new layer created. This new layer is a hue saturation layer, and that got created by this tool. Okay. This is the tool that we're going to be using to mask. And this is what we call a mask. This white box here, that's what we call a mask. I've been talking about masks all this time. There it is. So next week, we're going to start working on masking. Right now, we're going to leave it like this. One color changed. We're going to save this file. But I need you to give me a screenshot. And I'm aware that it's 4:46. We're going to have to make sure that we get this up in our Padlet before we're done. So let me give you the Padlet. Come on. I'm having an issue with my share. Let me stop my share and start again. For some reason, let me go ahead, and it wasn't trying to show me. Let me share my Padlet. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to go to the Padlet, and I'm going to copy the link so that I can give it to you guys in the chat. Okay, so here we go. I just pasted the Padlet link in the chat, so everyone should be able to get here. I see Jacob has put some tomatoes in there. Wonderful. Peggy, see, this is great. See how Peggy isn't just posting the photo, but she's also writing. Move individual layers with auto select. You have to click on the image. So she's explaining things that you might want to keep explaining for yourself as well. Okay. And then you're posting it. So I'm going to go back to Photoshop, and I'm going to do a screenshot, but this is important. Let me go back for a second to the Padlet. Both Rebecca and Peggy have been in my classes before. Look what they did. They didn't just show me their photos, they're also showing me their layers. Okay, so I can see that she's got the layers working. Rebecca too. She's not just showing me the photo that I changed the colors, but she's showing me a screenshot that includes the layers where I can see her hue saturation. Does that make sense? When something works or doesn't work, I can go in here and I go, oh, well, you know, it didn't work. Look, see what happened here to this or that. I need to see the work that's happening for me to be able to help you. So now let's go to Photoshop and let's do a screenshot that includes not just this, but have it also include this stuff over here. And I noticed that actually Rebecca actually had this on too. And if you have this on by clicking on the one that you changed, over there, then you'll be able to take a screenshot of all of this. So if you're on a Mac, Shift, Command, and 4, your mouse turns into this little crosshairs. Now you can click and drag across this whole area, and the screenshot will include everything that's underneath. If you're on a PC, you're going to do Windows screen, Shift S, and then you're going to be able to do the same thing. Drag your mouse across everything that's there. Now, let's go back and answer some questions. Yes, Sharon?
So I have to log in, right? Log in a student email address to Padlet.
No. All you need to do is click on the link that I just gave you. No need to log in. It's just a link that allows you to access it directly. So I'm going to click it again in the chat. If you click on that link, it'll let you in.
Okay, try again.
Tell me if it doesn't work. Yeah.
Hold on. I might find my way around. Hold on. Oh, okay.
Okay. Now,
All right.
I'm back at the Padlet. I'm seeing already that Peggy posted another one with her changes and Karen posted one with her layers over here. So that's good. Comment on this, Karen, not that it's good or bad, but you know how we had gotten rid of some of these things so that we'd have more space down here. In order to do that, I had kind of grabbed this thing that's at the top and I had moved it up and then double click on adjustments. You don't need to, it's fine. But see how there's very little space for your layers. As we keep adding, you might want to get more space for your layers. So later you can go ahead and do that as well. But I'm going to go ahead and click on this little plus sign. I'm going to put my name. And then if it's on a Mac, I'm going to find my screenshot. If it's on a PC, I'm going to put my mouse right here where it says write something beautiful. And I'm going to just go Control V and it's going to paste over there. And then you can still write something beautiful. So now I'm going to go and upload from my desktop. I went to my desktop folder and I'm uploading, and I can help people find this. If you don't know, this is my screenshot. And then over here, I'm going to say that this is, we used a adjust colors tool. Oh, I'm not writing. Hold on. Look in here, write something better. We used the adjust colors tool to change the colors of the tulips, but that we had already done. So the most important thing right now is that a hue saturation mask, layer mask, and now you know what that's called. It's a hue saturation layer mask, got created for us. Also, we learned how to move layers up and down, select layers, turn eyeballs on and off to see the layers, etc. I can keep going, but for now, let me just leave it at that and post it. All right. So guess what your homework's going to be? It's going to be do more of this. Okay. But practice.
Quick question.
And off and viewing things. And we also, oh, one thing that I forgot to mention, we copied. Let me go back in here. I'm going to edit this post. And we also copied the, let me say, blocks photo from one file into another. We did a Command Control A shortcut to select all the block. Then we pasted it into the tulips photo to get our second layer. Okay, so then I want people to do that. And as you can see, it doesn't need to be a great photo. This is a block on top of a tulips. I just want to see the tools used that we've been learning. Does that make sense? No problem. You can do the screen, the hotspot. You can use you can upload it whenever you're ready. Rebecca, yeah, what's your question?
Not a question, but I use this. I wanted to change lighting in my dining room. So I took a picture of the dining room, took a shot from the on the internet of the lighting and was able to put it and see what it would look like.
Awesome.
It was like,
can you post it here so we can see what you did? And
sure.
Before and after, but at the very least the after, that'll be wonderful. I love hearing how people creatively use these things. Okay. But yeah, like Colette over here, if you try to change the colors of your scarves right now, it'll probably change everything. So we're going to get into masking so you can do it with that one. But yeah, that's a great idea. And we're going to have samples like that in our screens to do. But yeah, I want to make sure that everyone's at this point able to do their screenshots and post. So if you're having any issue with that, let me know.
Yes, I forgot how to get to the tablet.
Okay, so how to get to the Padlet. Let me put the link back in the chat. There, did you just see a link appear from my chat? I'll do it one more time. I'm going to say, hi there. Do you see something?
Hi there, I see
there
that.
it is. Okay, in the same spot, I am clicking and I just put a thing that says Padlet. Can you click on that? Right under the hi there.
I don't. I don't have it on my other screen. On your screen, I see it.
Right, so I'm gonna write hello this time. Do you see the word hello?
Where in the chat?
Just saw the word hi there. Can you see the word hello right now in the chat? Yes.
Yes, I see it.
Okay. Now keep your eyes on the same spot that says hello. Don't move your eyes from that spot. I'm about to put in a new thing that says HTTPS Padlet. Do you see that?
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah.
Click on that. And that takes you to the Padlet.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Cool. You're welcome. All right, guys, let's come back to Photoshop and I'll help you save the file because you can't save it now as a layer, as a JPEG anymore, right? Because now it's layered. So as long as you remember that, and you can turn on the blocks again. Notice that the blocks have not changed color. And this is important. They've not changed color because they're sitting above the hue saturation layer. Now, if this blocks happen to be under the hue saturation layer, you would go, well, oh, nothing changed here. And it could be that the color that you are using isn't being affected by this hue saturation layer. So for now, whoops. There we go. So for now, let's just know that this has not been affected by a hue saturation layer because the hue saturation layer is just on top of Tullets and it's targeting just that tone of yellow. Do you see any yellow in this blocks at all? Do you see any yellow in this image? I don't. Do you? No. So since all I changed was the yellow, or in this case, sorry, I changed the reds and there's no reds in this block image, right? So then there's nothing to change, so it won't be affected. All right, let's save this file. Command or Control S or File Save, whichever one you prefer to do. And it'll tell you the document cannot be saved as a JPEG without losing information. So please don't save as a JPEG because if you force it to save as a JPEG, guess what? All of these layers will get flattened and you will never, it's like painting a marker on with Sharpie on a painting. You'll never be able to get rid of it. They will be flattened into each other. So we'll go, oh, thanks for reminding me. Thank you. Okay. So instead I have to do a save as. And either you do a save as, file save as, or when you say okay, it forcefully opens this thing called save as for you instead of a save, and it turns it into a PSD, into a Photoshop format. Photoshop document, PSD, Photoshop document. That's what PSD stands for. And that means it's a layered file. So now I'm going to call this one, and if you're in a PC, at the top you see the format and at the bottom you see the name. If you're on a Mac, at the top you see the name, on the bottom you see the format. But it's the same thing. So instead of tulip field, I'm going to call this one tulip and block. Layered. Just to have an idea that this is the one that we just changed. Okay? Now, if you don't have in your screen, and I'm aware that I'm a couple minutes behind, I'm sorry, we'll save this and then be done. It took me a little bit longer than I thought to get you to save the file. If you open this file from the folder that it came from, it should already be pointing to that same folder, okay? Otherwise, if it's not pointing to the right folder, then go to your downloads and find it and save it in there. But right now, this is already in my summer Photoshop. If you need help finding it, I can help you. I'm going to go ahead and say save so that I can stop. It says Photoshop format options. We're going to talk more about that, but for now, yes, definitely say okay. And now we can close it all up. I'm going to go ahead and stop my share so that I can help people who need help with the second part. But if you don't need help and you're all good, you're welcome to leave. Sorry, a couple minutes after class. I'll see you next Thursday. Some of you guys are in others of my classes. I'll see you all week. But if not, I need you to do more of this. Open a couple of photos. It doesn't matter if you're putting a banana on top of a landscape. Just do some practice of everything we've talked about, selecting different things, moving things on top of the other. And again, maybe changing some colors, which is what we did last time. You can keep practicing, seeing if you can do something great. All right, if it's not great and it looks horrible, put it on the Padlet, because remember that the Padlet says all images, failures and successes are welcome. You learn more from your failures, from what didn't work, where you say, I couldn't get this to work. And then that is a better, in fact, learning tool for me to teach you versus you doing it on your own and having a success and only posting it when it's really gorgeous. I don't care. I don't want gorgeous. I want attempts at making it happen. Okay? So if you have any questions,
Yes.
you're welcome.
So,
And if you have questions, you can hang out. Yeah.
so when I'm saving the file as a PSD, do I want to maximize the compatibility?
Yes. Say okay to that. A quick answer to that is if you maximize compatibility, that means that every version of Photoshop is able to open it versus not only Photoshop 28, right? If not, then different versions will be able to open it. And maybe you have a newer and older version and you're making it sure that everyone can open it. So yeah, you want to say yes to that. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Nope. All right.
Well,
It's great having you in class. I'll see you all sometime during this week and we're at the very least next Thursday. Bye-bye.